I said, we start at 6, I think they grab it, but no, you got about 4 more minutes.
So we're now I was saying like,
You're gonna make sure that you're sitting on the side. No, I have no say over that whatsoever.
Crazy. It was a Daniel sticker on the back, and I'll be next to it, another 14 sticker on the back. So I'm like, I'm trying to get a look at the driver. And so I head out the window out. She doesn't even.
You're lucky, Jay.
He's got.
Yeah. I did get.
It had an old Daniel sticker. And I'm trying, and I couldn't get it. It's weird. He told me. He lives there.
You gotta keep out of this show, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because they're doing it. Mark, February, yes. Okay, I'm in February. Jess, do you want Brian's pad?
No, I'm okay.
Mark, you want the pad? Oh, he does. May his day. May. You probably got a testimony. It's so boring. We're just waiting on a Bible. Oh,
Just not that, no. Now.
You're working overtime.
Scott, you have to speak actually loud because it'll be at speed.
Yes. Yeah, I was asking, I said this.
Get ready to next school. And
I did, have I seen you since I officially passed this?
no.
October 2nd to 9th.
Where are you going?
I'll meet John.
It was starting to sound fake with how long I waited. But we're there now. When are you gonna be there? Oh, yeah, there you go. Why are you not? It's on purpose.
Yeah.
I feel it's, you should have.
They want to be like restock.
My brother and I are gonna
So you'd rather be downtown? Wow.
Yeah.
So he's like walking.
You know. Did I take someone's seat? Oh. Did I take the mayor's seat? Oh. Oh, take your seat. Oh, yeah.
Me. Wow, hey.
Yeah. Well, how are you?
Thank you, John. Appreciate it. So it's 6:02. I'm going to call the meeting to order. Could we please stand for the pledge of allegiance to the flag? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. The sign-in sheet wasn't here. The sign-in sheet wasn't up. If it wasn't here, when you came in, please sign in on your way out. If anyone wants to speak for the public hearing, I will need you to sign up for that also. But first and foremost, we are looking to appoint or to promote Lieutenant Stephen Cooley to fire chief tonight. And we have to start out with a motion from the board. And I'm standing just because we're going to do the swearing in right after. A motion from the board to promote Lieutenant Stephen Cooley to fire chief beginning September 9th, 2025 at a salary of $77,000 with a probationary period of 26 weeks.
So
Second.
Okay, Marciano, a second by Bowiski. Is there any more discussion? All in favor? Opposed? With that being said, we are going to swear him in. So why don't we come right up here with your family and friends? You might have to slide down even. There we go. There.
Say.
Okay, put your hand on the Bible. You can go right up. Okay. And repeat after me. I, Stephen Cooley,
I, Stephen Cooley,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and the Constitution of the great state of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
that I will faithfully discharge the duties
of the office of Fire Chief of the Village of Medina,
of the office of Fire Chief, Village of Medina,
according to the best of my ability.
to the best of my abilities.
Thank you.
we're watching.
And what did you just pin on him to show everyone?
The Fire Chief's badge.
Fire Chief's badge, thank you. And this is
Collard Ritz.
college breath.
Lieutenant of Chief.
Thank you. Do practices.
And put the holes in there first.
That's something you would like to say?
Yes. Thank you, everybody, for coming tonight. First and foremost, I'd like to thank my wife, Becky, and children, Steve and Andrew, who are here tonight. Thank you for the years of sacrifice you have all endured that has allowed me to take care of and be with other people and their families during their time of need. The missed family meals, outings, birthdays, Christmases weigh heavy on me. Your sacrifices have not gone unnoticed, and they have had a direct impact on the greater good of other families. I am in awe of everything you have accomplished as my family and as individuals. My love to you all. Should have brought up water. To my parents, Mike and Mary Pat, my sister Anne Marie, my brother Adam, and their families who couldn't be here today. Thank you for believing in me. Let me chase my dreams. I'm sure it seemed like a nightmare, more like a nightmare for you all at the time than dreams. The guidance, love, discipline, and nurturing you gave as a young boy who wanted to watch, then act out scenes from Emergency and Chips has paid off. To my mentors, instructors, past officers, previous coworkers over the years, thank you for your guidance, instruction that officially began in 1992 as I started my career. I would not have the knowledge, skills, or abilities that I have today if it wasn't for you all. I do not have enough time tonight to list each one of you and talk about each one of you, but I cannot thank you all enough. And Tom, you're at the head of that list.
Out here.
To the men of the Medina Fire Department, as we enter this new era, I hope you will join me on this journey with a renewed sense of pride and enthusiasm for our department and the work we do. To meet the needs of the public, it requires the utmost in preparation and delivery of care and services. My plan is to give you the tools, training necessary to carry out this mission. The want or desire to carry out our mission must come from within each of you. To the Village of Medina residents, visitors, community members that we are sworn to serve. You can rest assured that we will meet your needs in times of emergency. Our service delivery model of fire-based EMS transport allows us to carry out dual roles under one department, enhancing the efficiency while maintaining a high level of service, no matter what the request of service is, either an EMS or a fire call. To Mayor Sherman and the village board, you're not up here, so I'm like, to Mayor Sherman and the village board, thank you for placing your trust in me as the 12th career fire chief for the village of Medina since 1920. I promise to uphold the high standards set forth and lead this department from the very front during this next chapter. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So everyone, anything to say now?
I was gonna ask if you want to speak.
Thank you. I have a slice of pizza thing.
Thank you.
Okay, at this point in time, I would like to open the public hearing to rezone 517 and 521 Eagle Street. Does anyone, any member of the public have anything to say regarding the rezoning of these parcels? Yes.
So I had a question with it. I was supposed to
hospitals.
Is this property on the tax roll?
This property,
It is not, we already own the property.
you already own the property, that's what wasn't quite sure. So it's not.
Would there be any like issues with traffic, with more cars and people crossing the road?
I don't think so. Mark, do you want to address that? So, the hospital.
So that new parking lot will be employee parking. And it's to make room for more patients. So the only people that will be crossing the lane. That helps.
Would you guys be putting crosswalking for them? Make it
Yes.
Safer?
Yep, there'll be a crosswalk.
Okay.
And, we're also putting in, sidewalks, which I'm there. Putting sidewalks along both sides, either way.
Okay.
Good question. Does anyone else have any questions or comments? So we did get, the planning board did approve, the county planning zoning board approved the variance. So we are prepared to move forward, after hearing from the public. And, this board can address it at the business meeting at the end of this month. So at this point in time, I'll close the public hearing. Next up is the Erie County Artisan Festival, and Greg Halleck is here to speak to the board about the upcoming festival.
Yeah. So the major parts that are. Is there a better spot? Sorry. The major parts that are happening here are we are having a car show that is a theatrical car show that is happening down at the basin. And I say theatrical, it doesn't mean that there's going to be fireworks or anything to that nature. It just means that there's going to be plays happening within the cars. So there's 10 5-minute plays that are happening in these cars, and audience members rotate through the cars. And there'll be about 30 total cars. So they would go along the L shape of the canal down there. So not the portions towards the business or towards the apartments, and not the space right in front of it, but just the L in front of the canal. It's making sense. So there's, I think it's 33 spots right there. So it would be taking up 30 spots right in front of there. The canal festival is on the 26th, 27th, 28th of this month. It goes from 10 to 5 each day. And the car show is happening for that entire time. The festival is happening in Medina, Albion, and Holland. So it's over the 3 areas. The 27th, Saturday, there is a boat regatta, which is a parade that starts here in Medina and goes from here to Holly, so 21 miles here there. Lineup is at 9 a.m. Gee, look at this. Okay. Lineup is at 9 a.m. and they take off at 11 a.m. And they end in Holly, so they are responsible for getting there. So the idea would be either they're carpooling to get there, or they have to pick up the people down there. So everybody would be leaving to get down there to get the boats and everything. And then we have artisan vendors, and the artisan vendors.
The conservation.
Thank you. The artisan vendors are along the canal towards the conservation hub in Medina. And then from police standpoint, your guys said The canal is, they've given a grant towards this event. And their only requirements is we had to already speak with the state police and they are bringing in the police that will be going in from all the villages. They just need to know that it's happening. And that if something were to happen, there's a possibility that we would be calling police. Vendors and all that are set up overnight and the cars could be there overnight and we have people that will be sick policing, they're not police, but what security, but they're volunteers. They're gonna be there overnight and they will have basically 911 to call if there was an emergency, but we do not plan on anything happening, but that would be so for them to know that we could be calling if something were to happen. We don't anticipate anything happening, but this is the first year of it. For it to continue to grow, we give them something bigger over the years. We also anticipate it moving a week later because a lot of things are happening this week and a lot of different places. But it was put on this week because of the Erie Canal anniversary and with their events happening the week prior, and they wanted it to end with this. So we anticipate bringing it the week before in the years following. And now we're doing it based on the 200th anniversary of the Erie Canal. So that is information. I'll let you ask me questions.
You notify the state police already or
Yeah,
about the sheriff's department?
yes,
Get notified?
yeah.
I think they really want to ask that.
Sorry, it's the sheriff's department. She said doesn't tax the state police. I apologize.
Sheriff's department. Yeah, they're the ones that have them. Right, patrol.
It was sheriff's department. I apologize. State police were just like, okay,
Yeah.
we're happy to know this.
So, in regard to the car show,
Mhm.
I'm envisioning the spots that are closest to the canal for the first shape of the L, those
Yes.
spots facing the canal.
Yes.
And then just around the side where the handicap spots are. Is that
So
what
we
you're
wouldn't take
thinking?
the handicap spots. And then be starting right after the handicap spots.
After the handicap spots, down toward, place, toward Catholic kids.
Yes.
Along that side. So in order to do this, the canal basin is going to have to be closed down completely from 10 to 5 at least for the whole weekend. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, correct?
Close to vehicle traffic.
To vehicle traffic.
I mean, we still want people to come down there and there's still, we want, so we don't want to take away from the businesses. Do you know what I'm saying? So we're trying to leave that area open.
I'm trying to picture it then, so if, that little median there that runs the parallel to the building.
We're not gonna use
You'd be-
any of the spots touching the median on either side.
Oh, okay.
Oh, on either side.
Yeah, I had pictured you using at least one side of that median. Okay.
So really, the canal basin doesn't have to be closed down. Those spots just have to be reserved for cars to come in on Friday. The cars are gonna stay overnight. And
We're offering them up that we see potential in a lot of them saying they don't want to leave their vehicles overnight and then they'll bring it back the next night. But we're saying that they're able to do that and people have some spending the night sitting outside, watching the cars.
How many people did it anticipate? You know.
Oh, we have goal 100,000. Thousand would be. I would say. We know that we can't have more than 10,000 people in any place at any given time. In order for us to stay within regulations of not having to have extra ambulances brought in and doing all that kind of stuff. To be honest, we have a goal of 20,000.
We have, how far wide have you advertised this?
The Erie Canal has advertised it all over all their stuff. So we're,
Including this, yeah, the car show part.
yeah.
Yeah.
We are just the first time.
And you're
We just
thinking
have
33
absolutely no idea.
33 spaces, 33 cars you're gonna have,
30 cars is our,
30.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just thinking if there's gonna be that many people, you're gonna wanna close down that basin. People wandering around, and if traffic going through the whole thing. I mean, a few people wandering around is one thing, but thousands is another.
Thousands for the car show or thousands for the
The
art
whole-
show, the whole thing, art show, boat regatta, car show.
and we anticipate like people are gonna be stationed all over. You know, we don't expect everybody, the whole idea is that 21 miles go anywhere along the canal. And watch the- we just don't want to upset any of the businesses or any of the people living there at this point. So if you feel it's best to shut down that area, then I would think we would probably want to we would make sure that we have someone on top allowing certain cars to come through, like saying, yeah, we're here for business or whatever. So if they're here for the festival, they have to park elsewhere. But, no festival parking. Everything.
So on Saturday, September 27th, we have the Alzheimer's Walk that we're going to talk about a little bit. The standard, starts at State Street Park. It's going to walk along the canal, back through the canal basin, up along Main Street, and then down. We have Allen Autumn taking place in our village. Thomas the Tank at the train station. And then the art triennial will be in full operation, and they're bringing in the sauna. That's going to be parked on their property in that little driveway right next to the old Napa. So there'll be people, they're going to be charging for that too. So it's going to be a busy weekend, which is a good problem to have, but I want to make sure that we have a clear picture of everything that's going on. And we need to make sure that we're taking care of people and all the activities that are going on and promoting them.
Did you have a certificate of insurance?
Yeah, we can.
Did you work on that? I emailed you. Is someone working on that?
Yeah, I mean, we have our regular, but we're getting a specific. Our insurance company is getting back to us with one from the CFO
For the
specifically.
car show and the art
For the
show is
overall.
outside.
For the overall, that's the one that we're providing for all the different villages. Get a certificate.
With like the Village of Medina name, this additionally insured.
Yeah.
So I guess the big question is this board willing to give that portion of the canal basin as a special use permit that he's filled out already that I forwarded to the board? Do you want to allow this to take place for all 3 days from 10 to 5 in the canal basin? And if so, what do we need to do? Do you want to close off the canal basin? Do you want to just close off part of it? And we'll have to have the DPW working on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday to set up the spots and take them down and do close the canal basin down.
You say set up, I mean,
Put up cones and barriers and
we have homes that things that bring them down.
When I've done events in Batavia with a different organization, sometimes they'll leave a stack of cones and road closure items in a specific location, like for us, it would be in the basin, for me, it was in Jackson Square. But they leave the stuff for us and then we go, people, DPW workers ourselves and we'll put it up.
Yeah, they do it during the week, so that way they don't have to pay for any
Yeah.
weekend or
Mhm.
holiday or whatever. But we also have purchased cones and things for all of our events to be able to do it. And if you said you want us to block it off at this time, come up and put up signs, if you wanted just the sign saying this is gonna be happening 3 days before, we are willing to do whatever. You want, we can send out notices to all businesses. There's the hand.
Discuss this.
So training.
And then Alzheimer's law,
Some
the,
chiefs as well.
that I could choose on the 25th.
The Alzheimer's. The Alzheimer's walk.
That's 8 to 2. They're in the park from 8 to 2. So the walk, I think, starts at, it's 11 or 12.
And it's on the 27th.
Yes. Yes, and the Seneca Chief does come on the 25th, but they take off on the 26th.
I think it's a good idea to close the basin.
Close it off from 10 to 5 or completely for the weekend.
Well, yeah, no, just during the car show. I can't see having something like that down there. Especially if it's gonna be very busy elsewhere in town.
I agree. I'm more comfortable leaving the spaces closer to the businesses like we've done in the past when the circus was here. We allowed the businesses to come in and out behind those parking spots behind the businesses.
Yeah, I think this, like the business side of the median,
Correct.
but it would have to be closed off from traffic, like there's be able to put one way in, one way out, and pretty well marked. I don't know how feasible. Have we done that before?
We've allowed them to go back and forth. It's not a one way, I believe.
Well, it's already kind of one way now. You have to change the direction for the day. Because the way it is right now, if you're going right behind the businesses, no, you're gonna change direction for that. Yeah, no, we come in by Captain Kids, one way up that side and then out, and you just wouldn't allow them to go around to.
Right, but you can't go out by the Napa building because that's one way.
So yeah, we would have to change the direction of something for the day.
But usually they close off the top, the
Okay.
DPW does. And then that strip, they're allowed to come in and out of that strip. And they find a way.
So
to
that's
get
the
in and out.
section that would become two-way, basically. It might be easier to close the whole thing off and all that.
Yeah, I was just thinking monitor that.
So we can talk to Jason lots about this and the best way to do that. And if the board is willing to allow this to be set up in the canal basin for those 3 days.
Mark, can you have your parking lot done by then? We'll just tell everybody to go park down by you. Yeah, I mean, are we anticipating from times when we closed this off before, like for the symphony, was that difficult for the businesses? Like, I didn't get any feedback saying that the businesses objected to it.
Right, Matt let them know and I let them know too. I didn't get any feedback either.
And then what about, is there any benefit maybe to offering that space if we closed it off and you're not using that space between the median and the buildings? Would we want to allow sidewalk sales or something down there from the businesses to kind of give them the option?
Well, I think for Allen Autumn, they're going to be using.
Oh,
the businesses
right, of course. No, you're right.
Any other questions or thoughts?
So great, thanks for bringing people together.
It's been very trying. So he started this conversation on October 30th last year. And then
We hired someone.
and we haven't heard much, like I didn't know it was still going on. So I called him this week and so Greg is here tonight.
He's stepping in to try to. explain to them.
So we will need the certificate of insurance.
Yes. And do you want me to send letters to the?
If you would, yeah,
Well,
that, well, maybe that should come from us rather than somebody. But we'll probably both. If you want to,
Draft one and send it to you.
yeah, and then maybe we could just jointly do it and I have the addresses and you could send them out. Let the businesses know, once we decide. I mean, it's my gut feeling that I prefer to be able to let the businesses use that
If you
Side
need
on
to
the
have
opposite side.
volunteers being at either road to, or the parking lot to traffic, get that. They have us, we have everything we need to make that, do whatever it takes.
and to set up, if we have cones and we have some barriers, if we have the DPW we got down there, you could set them up. And we can try it. We can always revamp and see how it goes Friday and then we can revamp. If it doesn't work. Well, there should be a lot of people in the village between the triennial and all the activities, especially on Saturday. But I think it'll be a good thing. It's a good problem to have. Okay. Do we need a formal resolution to allow this? Just has anyone opposed to allowing them to use the canal basin? Think a resolution? Yeah, and he does have the permit filled out that hasn't been forwarded to Dan yet, but it's only officer, but it really needs to come to the board first. So, does someone want to make a motion to allow the car show? Oh, and one more question regarding the boat regatta. So we will have the Seneca chief will be there on the 25th. It's going to pull out early morning on the 26th, so that will be gone. I'm assuming other boats will be coming in because we have our weekend boats who come in. Where will the regatta line up if we have boats moored on the wall? Are you lining them up near the floating docks, or are you going to be on the other side of the canal?
So that I don't know the names. When I was down in the basement, to the,
On the map.
Yes.
to the left, down there was like an entry point.
Okay.
We were going in,
An entry point to the, so here, this is where your car show is gonna be, right here. These are some floating docks here. So the Seneca chief will pull up right here and we'll pull back out and our triennial barge is back here, set up for the fall. So where will the regatta, will it set up like on this wall or over here? Like you probably had to, the Canal Corporation probably has some sort of
right?
permit
It's
that's
for
done.
me, but when people go in their canoes and different things, are they
Yeah,
entering
they're
right here?
right here,
So that's probably where she said.
right
They're
in
going
there. They're set up.
Yeah.
Okay, how many boats do you expect from the Okay, so we're looking for a resolution to allow the Go Art to utilize the canal basin for the theatrical car show from 10 to 5, September 26th, 27th, and 28th. with the stipulation that they will turn in a certificate of liability, naming the village as additionally insured.
The 27th is. It's 9 a.m.
Oh, that's for the boat though.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, but you don't, the car show won't be there. Okay.
I'll second.
Motion by Deb, second by Mark. Is there any more discussion? All in favor? Opposed?
Yeah.
I am not sure. I'll get back to you tomorrow morning. Okay, thank you so much. Thanks for coming in
Thank you.
and good luck.
That's like I was setting up a pre-art library right now. Obviously. So we got art stuff in here, trying to have your kids provide, this in life.
Great, thank you. Okay. So next up is the technical assistant grant award for Boxwood Cemetery. The board had approved the Boxwood Commission to apply for a grant where a match would come out of the funds that are set aside for Boxwood Cemetery. And we were awarded this grant, and it was a little bit awkward because we were notified that we got the award, but we were told we could not say anything to anyone until the press release was made. We didn't know when the press release was going to be made. So finally on August 28th, we could release that to the press. And we did win, we were awarded $7,500. So to support costs associated with the completion of an engineering and structural analysis grant for Boxwood Cemetery, much needed. We're excited for this, but they announced it and gave us the press release, and then they sent us the check right away. So the board has to accept the funds. And I didn't want to do another resolution on a work session night, but in order to put that check in our bank account, we have to accept the funds. So I need a motion to accept the $7,500 TAG grant for Boxwood Cemetery. Marciano, second by Paderewski. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. As I mentioned earlier, the paperwork has been put in by the Alzheimer's Association of West New York. They will be conducting the walk to end Alzheimer's. It's starting at State Street Park on September 27th. They will have their usual tents and snacks for walkers and a little bit of entertainment. And they have submitted their certificate of liability insurance. Initially, we thought maybe the canal basin would be under construction, but it's not. So they're going to follow the same route that they always follow. And I guess you want to make a motion to allow the Alzheimer's Association. They filled out the park application already. Motion to allow the Alzheimer's Association to conduct their walk on September 27th. Yes.
What time is that?
They're going to start at about 8, and I think the walk is at 11 or 12.
Same one we had last year.
Yes. Oh, here it is. Hang on. Opening ceremonies are 10:45. Walk begins at 11. Post-walk activities and cleanup begin at 12:30. They will set up the tents on September 26th in the park. Okay, motion by Carl. Second by Marciano. Is there any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. We have two separate requests, appeals. The planning board was, first of all, a resident of 161 State Street came to the planning board asking to widen his driveway, which would go in front of his house, and I believe the board has received information on this. He wanted to add a small parking area to the side of his driveway, where he's going to have the whole area replaced, the whole parking area. The planning board denied his request because the village does not allow parking in front of homes. And let's see, some of the planning board members had a few options. Like he could apply to put a second driveway in on the other side of his house, or he could extend the driveway toward the back of his house. But he does not want to do that, and so he's appealing it to this board to override the planning board decision to deny it.
And email. So there's a picture attached to that. I didn't see it. There was-
No, I went out to it.
I didn't, because I thought there was like a.
Say
picture that wasn't-
JPEGs.
Huh?
Say JPEGs.
Oh,
I mean, it's-
so you just,
I couldn't.
oh, is that you?
Yes.
Oh, hi.
How are you?
You want to stand up and talk to us about your driveway?
Sure.
Great, nice to meet you,
Nice to meet
Mr.
you.
Hyatt?
Yes.
Hi.
How are you? Yes, I actually have some extra pictures in here.
Wasn't able to bring them up.
This is the area where I was looking to put the extra spot. It wouldn't come, yeah, I'm trying for it. It wouldn't come right to the stake. It would be kind of inside the staircase. And this is a picture kind of showing what it would be. Sure. Yeah, I have, there's a dilapidated kind of sidewalk that comes off the driveway in front of this vehicle right now. This would take that dilapidated piece of concrete, get rid of that. And this would act as a, basically a walkway down up to the stairs as well.
Stone or
No, asphalt.
actual?
Yeah, I think it's, Bedford.
Do you have a picture of the end of the driveway?
I do, it's not in the house. You get them up here.
And this one's 207 East Center.
No, this is one.
161
Yes.
I do not have a picture of the end of the driveway. That one, my driveway is landlocked to the north of my neighbors. I go right into the property line. So,
Right.
so it's okay.
That way.
So
So.
planning board proposing to extend your driveway, it looks like on the garage and
Yeah,
behind it.
I'm going all the way back to the garage. The backyard is all fenced off, so I really can't get back through there, but I'm gonna have that taken down so I can get to the garage. Currently, it's just, it goes about, my side door is blacktop, that's stone, and it's just grass. So I'm gonna clean that all up and work on that as well.
I was looking at this one. Here, you want to take this one?
Yeah, I didn't.
Yeah. I knew you looked familiar.
So the planning board suggested that either you extend it back to your garage or you apply to put another driveway in on the other side of your house.
Well, they already knew I was going back to the garage. They wanted me basically offered pave the entire backyard
Okay,
or to, there was a couple out of the box suggestions. I looked at putting in another driveway, but I don't have the, it's 150 feet of frontage. So I would have to go back to the planning board for that again as well. I did mention going to the north side and putting it on my neighbor's lawn, but I didn't know if I should throw if I did that, so. Yeah, currently the actual, the front of the driveway is actually all caving in.
So it's not enough parking, or is that the issue?
Yeah. Yeah,
How many cars in currently?
I can get 2 cars in there front to tail. But then it just gets into an issue with trying to get out on line and things like that. So it's more of a convenience thing. I'm trying to refrain from parking on the side of State Street. Obviously, State Street, when we have the, Blues Thursdays and things like that, it gets a little bit busy, so I'm just trying to stay away from parking.
Kathy, do you have anything to add? You were at the planning board meeting and planning board discussed this.
We thought, again, we felt there was plenty of driveway. Again, you can go across, take the fence down. And let it go. I did not hear the other, they must have done something that I missed on the other side of it, but, the side of the house. But
Yeah, a couple of those were always talking.
yeah, after the meeting.
Okay, I'll talk to you.
It's right next to your driveway here,
Yes.
at the deal.
Yeah, if you look directly down the driveway, it's on the north side of the street. My driveway is actually, there's an easement around 2 inches over the property line, so you go to redo the driveway and take it back out.
You look at my house.
I get it.
And like I said, one of the reasons I was looking for is within a 4-block radius, there's about 10 more properties that have similar situation. I know that there was a comment made, I think, Tom's been here for a long time. He's been here for a long time, so I know that there's different stages of things. So I'm just kind of looking to see if I could get that.
So the planning board has a code to follow. And that's why that process is in place. But, I mean, and it's in place just so people don't have the cars parking in the front yard. But there's an appeal process to this board that if you would like to essentially override the planning board decision, this board has that ability. So, I mean, you can make a decision tonight, you can think about it and make a decision in another meeting unless people have other questions or it's up to the board.
Why did the planning board deny it? We've been missing it.
It's parked in, maybe in the front of his yard.
Oh, parking in the front,
It's a
yeah.
village, you know.
Village code that you cannot have a driveway in your front.
So right now, it's green space. It's a grass area. He's proposing to extend his driveway out, make it blacktop, and then in park. Is what he's proposing. So he'd be parking essentially in his front yard.
I mean, this is why we have a board, I guess, because, I mean, I hate telling people where they can have their driveways. If you want to, like, I understand there's a code, I would grant the appeal, but not off of anything other than I just don't like the code. So there's 5 of us, that's my personal opinion, but I don't have any science to back that up. I just think if you put in a nice driveway and you wanted to park your car on it, I'm not real particular about where that is, but I understand that's probably not. That there's a lot of history in this that I'm not taking into account, my one person opinion.
On the other hand, we have a code for a reason, and for us to sit here and say, I mean, there seems to be no particular issue necessarily maybe with what you're asking, but to say if it's okay for you, and then it goes against the code, and then somebody else is gonna not have this nice setup, this maybe you have, and, you know, so now we're getting into exactly what I don't think we should be doing is the problem.
do think we have a problem with people parking in their yard. Currently, we have a lot of vehicles that are just parking there. At least you're coming out trying to do the right thing. I really appreciate you doing that, going through the process. I feel that we should be enforcing the ones that are not going through the process. We do have a current lot of vehicles that just park in their front yards. And obviously, that's why you try to extend your driveway.
And obviously.
The right way.
Yeah, trying to do it the right way, so it looks.
Correct.
Yeah.
I think part of the planning board's reasoning was that there were other options that he had if he would wish to pursue them, but. So you're saying that you're going to have it, once, if you get the approval, regardless, you're gonna have your driveway
Yes.
paved and all.
Yes.
Look nice.
Yes.
And actually upgrade the property. Scott?
I went over and I looked at it, and the idea is, where he has the vehicle there is where, it'll be. To me, it's not really in front of the house, it's parked sideways. Me personally, I was the homeowner of the, that's a silly goal. This is my property, I want, safety here, and I know that it's are talking about putting another driveway here, and then wants to drive curb cut. So me personally, I don't know, they did speak on it. I mean, it doesn't currently break that, ordinance by parking there. You don't see mud on his tires and, going through it. No, parking's an issue in our village here, and I wouldn't want to have to wait my way at 6 o'clock in the morning per vehicle, so I can go to work. But, I don't really, it's not what, it's not, when I walked by and looked at it, I didn't think that it would, things aesthetically. That's a small portion in front of the house. It's not, we're parallel parking in front of the house, and still naturally. Just my opinion.
So if there was a driveway here, there's a sidewalk. So is the driveway going over?
No,
Out over the sidewalk?
no, it actually, sorry, I don't have a picture of
That's why I
that.
wanted to see a picture of that.
Oh, here we go. Here. This is kind of a rough drawing, what the tree came up with. It would come back and then it would taper back into the driveway. So you're basically turning back into the driveway to come out. So you're not backing up across the sidewalk. So they would actually kind of taper that and bring it back into the main driveway before it goes out over the sidewalk. Or this currently.
And then you're taking a building out back here and you're extending the driveway back there anyways?
Well, there's already a building back there. We're gonna go through this fence and try to make it that usable. Get a vehicle back. Because right now it's all up to about midway of the house, it's asphalt. Then it goes back to stone back here. And then this is all grass.
You didn't want to make a turnaround back here so that,
Yeah, that would take up the entire back. That's the only issue with the turnaround back there.
I mean, what's the reason for the code though? I mean, why is there a code that doesn't allow you to park in your front yard? I mean, I think that's what's.
for the aesthetics of the village and,
like I said, a lot of this is just to do it the proper way, right? Rather than kind of have dirt tracks going across or something like that. Just,
And I don't have any issue with that. I think that you, I mean, it won't, you know, when you sell the house and you sell it to somebody else and there you go. I mean, and then, I don't know. I can just see it going bad. This is my opinion, and full disclosure, I have exactly that in front of my house. It's been like that since I bought it. Back in the 80s, so.
That you,
Maybe I should say on the conversation.
you have a parking spot at your house?
Yes, in front of my porch. Yeah. It's extended, so I mean, that's. Full disclosure.
Always been an issue
I shouldn't even count that.
with parking on both sides of the road back in most installed. He was proposing to have parking out one side because of all the accidents that we were, you know, having and people backing out and they're trying to get out of cars. That got shut down by the neighbors. It didn't want, you know, one both sides.
Sure,
You know, but I do know that there's a parking issue over on State Street, where there is.
Yeah.
But Mom hung out on is the code that we already, they're tasked to look at this. That's what I'm hung up on, is the current code. And we can sit here and argue that there's already a lot of people parking in there. Front yard, you see that, I appreciate you, you know, he's trying to do it the right way, most people just do it.
Right.
And as they get caught, it's like, you know, try to reverse it. That's what I'm hung up on, it's, planning board, is tasked to do this for the benefit of the village.
Would you like to think about it, process it, look at it again? Talk to planning board members, make a decision in 2 weeks?
So it sounds like I'm probably the one that has it over there to see it. Okay. That, unless the board wants to do something else. For the next meeting and look at it, but I want to be straight up with you. Still calling planning board decision and which code is obviously before I got on the board. That was something that they established in our village. Everyone to look at.
Every time you State Street, I wouldn't be comfortable parking out there either.
Yeah.
I'm straight,
Yeah.
I'm straight.
I had a lot of that. I was on the police department. A lot of accidents. Cars are parked on the sides, like you know, take the mirrors and stuff out of here. Lots of else. And I see where you're coming from.
So does the board want to wait for Mark to look at it, or do you want to make a motion?
I'll make the motion to. I'll make the motion too. I've never responded to an appeal before, so I don't know what the appropriate wording would be, but I would make the motion to allow the driveway addition in the front yard as proposed.
I'll say.
We have a motion by Marciano and a second by Belisky. Is that with the understanding that the entire driveway will be repaved and the addition paved the same way as the entire driveway, repaving?
That was what you proposed, Resh? Yeah, so with that in consideration, yes.
Okay, is there any more discussion?
I'm not going to be in favor of it now because of what I just said. Obviously, I would like to look at it. So I'm gonna be voting no. At this point, until I looked at it, so if they wanna put a motion on. It's not right now.
I was worried about the code, you won't follow or anything else, so they're gonna try.
What's that?
You don't care about the code,
Excuse
right?
me.
Yeah, it's so-
This is really the work session.
It's like we're all waiting.
So, so are you in favor, Deb?
No.
You're not? You're not.
I'm not right now, so.
Very quick, say aye.
So I have to uphold, I sat on the planning board. And I know, as much as I would like to say yes, and I know the street that you're living on, but I know that we sit on the planning board and follow the things that are laid out. Not to say that we couldn't charge the planning board with looking at the code again for driveways. I'm going to say no also, I break the tie with no, just because this is what our planning board does, and they do this for us. But with that being said, I would like the planning board, I'm gonna ask them if the board agrees, ask them to relook at this code for driveways, and maybe special circumstances that can be, changed. Sure.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
Okay. All right, thank you for your time.
Did I give you enough for the minutes? I know we kind of did that out of order.
You did. You good with minutes?
Yeah.
Okay, so we have another driveway appeal.
Are you okay with that? Yes, no?
For 207 East Center Street. This is a little bit of a different scenario, that this is an apartment building that has no other options for parking except in front of their building and next to their building. They're landlocked behind with another building, and they're landlocked to the west of their property with barriers in a parking lot. She has tenants. And the other issue here is when they did the pass-through project, they put curbing in front of the driveway on the other side of her house. So there's DOT curbing, the DOT put curbing there. So they can't go up over the curb into the driveway on the west side of the house to use that driveway. So,
They have to parking.
they have no option but to park in the front yard or to park in the municipal lot overnight and then walk to their home. Walk to their home after work. They're all working people in the household. She came in and spoke with me. I spoke with Jason about seeing if that curb could be cut out, but someone else took over from the DOT. And we don't have a contact person right now to see if that curb, if they'd be willing to cut that curb back out so that she would have parking.
If I read I read the zoning board notes on this, and the planning or zoning, I can't remember, I copied it in my agenda though, and it said the applicant has applied to the state DOT for a curb cut, and that was not.
Oh, okay, I guess I didn't.
So then it's-
Okay, it was denied the curb cut. So, she did speak with the DFW about renting space across the street, and they weren't interested in doing that. And, so she cited the ordinance that, a permit for front yard parking may be granted by the village planning board for a property with side yard widths less than 10 feet. Village planning board may attach reasonable conditions to any such permit. Applicants shall provide information to demonstrate that no other practical parking alternative exists on the premises or demonstrated extreme hardship. The village planning board shall also consider the general character of the surrounding neighborhood and the suitability of the applicant's request. So, there is no other practical parking. And if the board, have you had a chance to go by this property? So we talk about, we've discussed this in board meetings about the appearance of our village to people coming in on the main thoroughfares of our village. And this one is an eyesore with the parking. They put landscape stone in there, illegally. So she has reached out to Jen Hill about getting the entire yard paved so that she would have parking. But Jen Hill reached out to Dan, but there has to be a variance. So Dan put a hold on it because she was going to appeal to the board.
So there is parking currently permitted in front.
No,
So they have 0 parking spots.
they have a driveway to the east side, correct? Yeah, correct. And she has 4 apartments there. Is it-
Well, when you look at it, you would assume, which we all at first did too, that it's a double. Only to find out there's 4 apartments in there,
Or
or. So, yeah. So I don't know where this all of a sudden came up. Because the driveway accommodated them for a while. And I don't know, one of the two, maybe they got a new tenant or something, we didn't get into that part of it. Possibly has another car. But you're too close to the sidewalk, you can't park in the front. We couldn't figure out a way. I mean, we do try. But there's just no way. It's very, very close to the sidewalk.
Pretty narrow.
It's very narrow in front.
do they currently get cited for parking in front?
Well, she did, this is her violation.
So so this went to the planning board or didn't? I'm sorry, I was.
Yes.
They went to the planning board. And they said what? I'm sorry.
Said no.
They said no. Anyways, I didn't go by this, but I just.
And if I understood what the planning board notes were, and you can probably assist me, but I think what probably, but I think what likely initiated this is the part that says the neighbor put up barriers that stop tenants from being able to park right up against the house. That's probably what initiated
Could
the
be.
concern.
We asked her also if she could work something out with Matt to come across
Mm-hmm.
and use that as an entrance into that driveway. And she said no. So. Matt said no.
So the picture I'm looking at shows 2 cars parked there. And there shouldn't be any parking there, obviously.
If they're in the front. Right.
Yeah, and there's not, and they don't have any property on either side of the
Yes,
house.
they do. They have
Oh, they do.
driveway on the west side.
They have a driveway on each side.
Oh,
Yeah.
You can't access the driveway on the
Oh,
west
so
because
this
unless
is
you
their
go off the
driveway.
front yard. And so that's why one of the tenants put the landscaping stone there because it was getting muddy in the front yard, trying to park. And that's a mess. That has to go. I mean, not only does it look bad, it's not appropriate for a driveway, and it's getting all over the sidewalk and in the street.
That's stones, they drew the barriers.
So this one section is curious to me. So it says a permit may be granted for property with side yard widths less than 10 feet.
So that would I think that that would apply to the previous discussion, a permit could be granted for,
I think so, and we have to go back to, we don't know when they bought it, did they put the extra, did they make extra apartments? It's, like I said, it looked like a duplex in the beginning. And then maybe more apartments were added, broke it up again, and this is causing the problem.
so then she cited the house at the corner of West Center and Ohio Street. There's an apartment complex that the entire front of the house on West Center Street is paid for the parking for that apartment because they have no other options in that house. So she, cited that as, a reason to make an exception in her case because she has no other options. So.
Well, I think the other thing is that, I mean, just because things were always done a certain way or that there are things that exist, doesn't mean we have to keep doing it. I mean, codes are in place to make changes, so we're not doing that still. But you can't go and say, okay, well, we changed the code, so now you have to, I mean, that's.
Mark?
Definitely not for parking in front there. It's pretty narrow there. My decision stands.
Yes?
I'm still kind of looking at these pictures.
Scott, while she's looking?
No, I agree with we kind of handicapped them or when pass-through project was done by not having the curb cut there. They have parking, but the only way they can access it is by going through their yard and I don't think will they ask them to park in the front yard or just be able to drive across it to get to the driveway that they want. They want to park right.
Well, again, if you wanted to make the whole thing.
Well, saying yes. Make the whole.
So
they could go
through. That's what I gathered out of it.
Yeah.
No.
So,
I mean, this is like a really good example of how, in one picture, it looks like it might be acceptable, but then when you see it here, you don't want that.
no, it's just,
I mean, so that's where the problem is. I mean, this looked perfectly fine. I would have went along with it. It was beautiful. It got it nice. Next thing you know, it sells it. It looks like that. Wow, I feel bad. I have to say something I know. Hey, they have a driveway, especially the four cars.
I don't know.
That's another issue.
They have 4 meters. They had permit to have meters set. Something.
talk louder.
Yeah, talk.
Oh,
Yeah.
If you can't hear, say it. I mean, I know it's a work session and we'll have comments,
No.
just say.
no, I was just saying, I don't know if they have an in-house meter. They have 4 house meters there. Obviously, they got permit at some point for it. Went through our process, so. I don't know what's there for meters.
Okay.
When I talk, everybody can hear. The usual one that's.
Okay. So Mark, you're saying no,
I'm a no.
and that says no. Scott? Well, someone would have to make a motion.
I get it. I mean, we're not gonna allow someone to park in their front yard over Jersey barriers right next to it.
Well, and those we have to, I think that the code enforcer has to look at those because I don't know if those are allowable. I don't know.
But I mean, that's Munden's property. If it's not,
Right, that's a
those
different
gonna be
property.
planters, like, I mean,
Correct,
that-
there's gonna be something, but in order to spruce up that neighborhood a little bit. Okay, so does anyone want to make a motion?
I know this is, I just keep looking at these pictures, not understanding why you can't get into the backyard to park.
It's someone else's property.
It's the house and a fence behind it. There's another house.
The house on Manila, right?
Yes.
So what I'm looking at is there's a good amount of, I mean, I say a good amount of space. There is a slightly more space before the property line in the back than there is in the front yard. So if they were looking for a permit and I feel like there's space to do that there, unless I'm overlooking something. Like I'm looking at, it comes from the information comes from the tax roll and it's probably not perfect. My father showed me a hunting app that shows the little lines of property and I'm looking at that and it may not be perfect, but from what I'm looking at here, like it looks like there's enough space in the back, maybe slightly more space in the back than there is in the front. So if you use that driveway along the side to get in where the curb cut is, to get into the back, it seems to me like, yeah, I just don't understand, like, did that come up in the planning discussion?
It did not.
Okay, because I don't want to take this as gospel. It's not, nobody did a survey and showed it to me. But from what I see here, I haven't known these to be wrong by more than a couple of feet in the past. It seems like you have the space to put something in the backyard. So I'm not going to make the motion here because I think there is another option.
Good with that, Scott?
Yep.
Okay, if they're wrong, don't be mad at my dad.
Okay. Surplus equipment, we've asked our department heads to give us a listing of equipment that is surplus. These, we just got some more in an email today. So I would really like to table this until the October 20th meeting when Jason Watts can be here.
It's gone for 2 weeks.
Not on October 20th,
Oh, you're gonna table it.
table until October because he's out of town at the end of the month. So does anyone have a problem with that? And then we can have our department heads and you can ask the department heads and look at the surplus equipment.
Yeah, the only question I had was, the piece that we got from the police that we have a contract connected to it that needs to be given away.
Yeah.
I would be interested in seeing what the stipulations are before we move forward on that. So I know that the response was, there's a contract connected to it, so we'll handle that side of it. I would like to see that contract before it gets.
I agree. I spoke with Jason about that today too, because it's housed over at the compost facility, I believe. We need to look into that more.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Did the county get that?
What?
Did the county get anything?
No, they got it from. It was donated.
I remember when.
Yeah, I know like the school did some work on it.
Yeah. Oopsie's work.
Yeah.
I don't think it was ever used.
Yeah, I don't think it was either. So, yes, I agree with Jess. Jason was speaking about that today too, so.
Yeah, no, sure, because it was donated to us, we can't profit off of it. I just wonder what the terms are.
Do you want to look into that?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Okay. And then we also, the old body cameras, I don't know, like, do things have to be done to them before? And who does that?
I would trust it because she knows how to do that or reach out if he doesn't. But they empty them very regularly.
Okay.
Could they wipe them? Sure.
Okay. The Gulf Street Park merry-go-round, wow.
think that was,
That'll pack the house.
that was, so my parents raised money for
Yeah,
that.
you might have to bid on that.
Who's gonna get it?
I might bid on it. Oh, my husband.
I'm getting it.
Yeah, hopefully.
Okay,
Does that thing still work? Has anybody seen it?
I don't know. I know that Gwynn Street Park married her out.
Yeah, I mean, I used the off-street park one until
Why did we get rid of that?
I don't know.
the insurance company said that it was not
The
safe to
insurance
remain.
company.
Is that?
Yeah.
Jeez.
And I think that all goes for silent bid, right? Those
Yeah, that
things
goes
that
on
go
the,
on.
well, it goes on the online auction, so it's not silent. but Then,
Okay. Okay, so we can table that until the 20th? Everyone agree?
Yeah.
Okay. Grant writer. So we had a contract with our grant writer, G&G, and they ended up starting late, this year, so they made good with us. But when we budgeted for the grant writer, Jada had him fix out the 1-year contract at $2,000 a month. So she budgeted $10,000 from June to October. So let's see, Jay started a month late. We essentially will be paying, she sent this out to everyone, $12,000 this fiscal year and not $10,000. So I guess I need to know from the board, we just kind of need to talk about this. Do you want to renew the contract? We don't have to pass a resolution tonight, but we do need to have a discussion. And if we renew the contract, we'll have to take the funds out of the contingency to continue to have the grant writer. He's working on several grants for us right now. He did present at the last meeting, and everyone got the email. Does anyone have anything to add about the grant writer? So we would just need to $13,950 to get us to the end of the fiscal year. Continue on with the grant writing.
Has he started before the fiscal year, the contract started before June? Is that?
yeah, I'm having a hard time following
So
this.
the contract essentially was going to start at the end of the last fiscal year, the year before. And then he didn't start until November, correct, Jada?
Correct, so he was behind in starting and us getting going on it, so the contract wasn't even signed until,
November.
November, so he didn't even start until December.
But there wasn't anything open at that point in time anyway, so there wasn't as much for him to do.
So we signed the contract in November. We started late. To me, that would mean we would pay less money. I don't understand how we would have to pay more than we budgeted.
Well, it's the same from November to November, but if we want him after November, the year is up in November. We signed a contract for a year.
We only budgeted from June to November. Oh,
Correct.
okay, well, that was.
Oversight, it was,
Wow. Well, because you'd have to have the discussion if you were gonna.
Right, and at the time, we didn't even know.
We didn't have the
know
discussion
when
if
you
you're
were
gonna
work.
continue it on.
so in year 2, according to this contract, it was, the price was increasing in year 2. I just thought about this. How about if I reach out to G&G to see if they'll honor the price we've been paying for the first year and not increase if the board wants to keep him on until the end of this fiscal year, I'll see what he can do for us.
Yeah, let's see if we can get the contract through a fiscal year, like that would be,
Exactly.
instead of like a whole year, just.
Through the
I
end
mean,
of
for
the
now,
fiscal year.
yeah,
And then we'll present something to the board.
yeah, since he is right in the middle.
Yes. Is everyone good with that?
Yeah, that's good.
Scott? Okay, I'll reach out to Jay. Jada, you are up to discuss this upgraded integrated code.
So I kind of detailed in my email, our original quote was We would be paying $770 a month. That only included upgrading 17 phones. There are 27 phones that would need to be upgraded in total. I believe the mayor, contacted all the departments to see, if that would still have to be the case. Integrated redid the quote. We would still be saving approximately $5,849 going to the new phone system by eliminating Verizon. Verizon has done away with legacy program, so now our Verizon bill has gone up over $200 a month. Our internet speeds are extremely slow. It's my understanding the police department is having trouble downloading body camera footage. So this also, you're gonna see an increase with Spectrum, but overall it's still gonna be a savings. The only problem is we, of course, at the time, I used the first quote for budgeting purposes, so I do think it's gonna be short in the budget,
By about,
10,000. So you could do two things, you could maybe, do two of the departments now and then budget the other department in the next budget season. I did put in to purchase more hours, which we may be able to get through the budget year without, or purchase less hours. It's all for your consideration. I do think there's gonna be a lot of benefits to this new phone system. I mean, we're paying for long distance calls right now that we won't have to pay for. So we budgeted for, based on the first quote,
The new system, which was gonna be cheaper, but based on not the correct amount of phones.
correct.
Okay.
And it'll still be cheaper, just not as much cheaper.
in the long run.
No, in the long run, I mean, you're gonna see a
Yeah, it's just
substantial
more of an upfront
savings.
cost.
Right, but I mean, we're already like 2 months into the fiscal year and Verizon's already increased the phone bill over $200 a month.
And did we do look at the number of phones that we have, and is there any that we maybe don't need?
I did, I reached out to the department heads and all the phones were necessary.
Okay, I mean, I might have one or two I could challenge just with my own personal knowledge, but,
The top of my head.
yeah, there are a couple of things we probably could reduce, but not to get us from 27 back down to the initial 17. How many hours do we have left, Jada? I know you budgeted to purchase, and we've been using them pretty sparingly.
38,
We have 38 hours left?
yes.
Okay. Do you feel like we would be able to absorb the amount out of the amount that we budgeted for purchasing hours? Would we be able to absorb the difference in cost? And then if we need to make a budget adjustment later from contingency, if we have to break that glass, could it be to buy hours instead of to make this change?
I don't wanna answer that because, I mean, we had fluke things happen. We had a lightning strike that took up,
Well, sure, I'm saying,
I mean, maybe, I mean,
I'm not saying we definitely wouldn't need to buy the hours. I'm saying if we were going to dip into our contingency, could we wait and see if we need to buy the hours and dip in for that instead of doing it right now for this?
And agree to the integrated upgrade, just wait.
yeah, they could. Oh, yeah, I mean, we wouldn't buy the hours until we absolutely had to. I just don't know if that's what it'll look like.
Right.
But you only have 38 out of 100 hours left.
Right, but that's carried over from last year.
Oh, okay.
So it carries over from year to year. We don't buy 100
Until you
hours
buy
every
more.
year.
We haven't bought hours recently, but like Jada said, we need them.
Right.
So the board has the choice of agreeing to, looking at the budget, trying to pay for the integrate upgrade as it's now been reassessed and use that $7,500 that we had budgeted for the hours of support, going ahead and moving forward with the integrate upgrade. But where's the other $2,500 gonna come from? We needed about 10,000. The 2 phones we're going to take off.
How much are we short? How much are we short in the budget? Just give me the-
About 10,000.
Yeah, about 10,000.
But there's 7,500 for integrate hours. So it would be about another 20.
That's it. Okay, just do it. I say just do it. You need
Is that a motion to
the.
allow Jada to sign, us to sign an integrated contract?
Yeah, I'll second that with the understanding that, we could look a little harder at some of the phones and maybe pare it down from 27, understanding it wouldn't get all the way to 17.
We have a motion by Deb, second by Jess. Is there any more discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Okay, we had a question regarding a MEDEX invoice number 9892559, regarding a service that was provided by our ambulance service. And that because this was someone volunteering for work for the village when the incident took place, this person is asking to be forgiven from this for the village to forgive this payment of $396.78.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion by Deb, a second by Scott. Is there any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Just me.
Carried. I am going to table the call fireman application because the new chief must do background legal work before the recommendation can be made. There was a question regarding gear and what type of gear we have available for our callmen. So there would be gear for this person, but there's a background check that has to take place before a recommendation can be made to the board. I wasn't sure of the process because it seems like it's been so long since we've had a new comment. And so I'm going to table this for tonight. And I guess the fire department is assessing the gear and how much gear we have so that decisions can be made, especially this coming budget year, if we're bringing on callmen. Do we need to order some new gear? Is there gear that can be repurposed that hasn't been expired? So
I got a question.
I hope I can answer it.
If not, I think we should be looking into it. Can everybody hear me? Who are we, who's currently on, or who's calling now? Are we utilizing them? Are they geared? Should we be looking at if they're not being to remove them from that?
Right, and we have had that discussion. I think there are 2 or 3 people currently on the list. And I can get you the names. And I think that people who aren't responding or are able to respond probably need to be removed from the list. That's my personal feeling. But we also have to put, the word out there that we are looking for callmen to come in. And I'm not sure if they have their own gear, if they have Medina gear, obviously it's stored in our firehouse. And we do need to look.
I would be interested to see who's on the list and how much they're utilized. I see no reason having Hallman on there, taking up a spot if they're not even coming in.
Right.
I would really like that answer.
Right, and I think that was the case years ago on the board, that we just started, we had probably 10 callmen maybe, and we
Yeah,
started removing
Was it
them.
before you came on board? We just removed, it might have been before you though, I might.
They
the
did
time
the time,
before you, but we
and
did
it was
remove
on
a
when I
bunch.
was on the board.
Yeah, and I think that's what brought us down to maybe 3, and the only one that I remember signing up since I came on was Justin McAdoo from Ridgeway. I know maybe 2 years ago we brought him on.
And I think that, Doug Herbert's on, an active person on the list, I believe. And,
I don't remember.
and then,
I'd like to know from the chief,
yes.
and obviously he was a lieutenant before he was the chief. Are these people active, you know?
Right.
You know, that's what I'd like to know.
Right. So I'll get those names, we'll ask the chief for the names and whether they're active or not, and what, I guess, what do you go by? What should you have in place when you remove someone from a list? Do you go to that person and say, hey, you haven't responded to a call in 3 years, you're still on our list, are you going to respond or not? And if not,
I also would like to know, because I'm not a fireman, that is, what are they gonna be used for? You know, I'd like to know what they're gonna do, what is their function of being a callman? Obviously, they're callmen in Medina because they're paid. Sure, it's not a lot. But I'd like to know if we're having them, what is their function of being there? What are they gonna be used? What is our career firemen looking to use them for?
and that's a good question to ask our new chief.
Cool.
We will work on that. Very good. Okay, anything else regarding the comment? Good points.
I don't remember. I can pull it up. I don't remember the budget liners for firefighters. I know sometimes things get mixed up when we say with the table by the time they get out into the world. And I heard that sentence and I know what you did not mean. I just want to clarify for the world that nobody is saying that somebody signed up to be a call firefighter only because they're getting paid. These are typically people who are also, that's what I wanted to say out loud, was that that's not the stance of this board or really anybody on it.
I think it's a whopping $1,000.
Yeah, it's not much.
If they come in so many times or something like that.
It helps probably with their cleaning.
True.
You know, they have a lot of something where they're volunteers, so you have to kind of pass to get some kind of benefit to something, but I'm not trying. I'd like to have those questions answered. What are we gonna use them for? You know, because I don't know.
Okay, water accounts town of Ridgeway. It's come to our attention that there were 4 homes in the village that the village is supplying water to that have Ridgeway meters on them. And we were not, Ridgeway was able to collect money for this, but we weren't collecting the money for these water meters. So we have Jason and John Olinger met to decide where the water was actually coming from for these meters, how it was being processed. I came over and spoke with Brian Napoli about it, and they don't have the records of the water usage for these homes, but we need to rectify the situation so that Ridgeway will buy new meters for these homes that will be Medina meters, and we will be reading and billing for those 4 homes from now on, once Ridgeway buys the meters.
Can you back up a little bit? So Ridgeway has been collecting on these, or have not been, have they been reading these meters that are currently there? Is there meters currently there?
There are meters, they're the Ridgeway meters.
So were they reading them and collecting the money?
Yes.
And we're not forwarding the money to
It was
us.
just put in with all of the Ridgeway water bills. It was a total oversight because they were Ridgeway meters.
How long is that been going?
We don't know. Jada, do we?
We don't.
And
We
Hallie caught it. She, and
So it looks like we get more records. How much they
so we've
collect.
had the same situation with a whole row of meters in Shelby that we had to rectify. But, so I guess I just,
Yeah, I'm just baffled by this, though. I'm just really baffled. How did these happen in the village water?
They get a water bill. Yeah, record on it. We do crossing.
Well, so Ridgeway hasn't been billing yet?
it was my understanding that they had been billing them, but,
So what should they, No.
March. I mean, from the date that that meter went in, there must have been reading on that meter if you go back.
they do shred their records.
Yep.
For 7 years. They keep them for 7 years. So they should have records for the last 7 years anyways.
Four properties.
I just can't get my head around this.
No.
Well, and the same thing with the other situation in Shelby. It's very difficult to wrap your head.
So what are we doing next? Well, we want to put in our own meter, Bridgeway's gonna put in our meters and then we'll start reading.
Between Jason and John the Ridgeway will purchase our meters and Jason and Johnny will put them in. We'll send a notice to a letter to the residents and tell them what has been going on. And from now on, they'll be receiving a Medina water bill.
And we need to see records from the town of Ridgeway regarding the water that they built, whatever they have. I don't care if they shredded or whatever. They got something.
No, I think they'll probably. I bet you they'll
They got something. And that's not acceptable. No.
Great. Okay, water policy. Are we going to discuss this Lakewood? We were still going to discuss it tonight, correct?
Unless you wanna wait for Matt to be pregnant.
Okay. Okay, this may need attorney input regarding people in Lakewood Village not paying their water bills, and we're not able to shut off the water there. We can discuss it a little bit tonight if you want, or we'll save it when our attorney's present at the end of the month in 2 weeks.
I think we sent a response. I read the response
Yeah.
of Matt.
Yeah, right, and I
I did too.
appropriate.
I did too.
I mean, I think we should have a discussion with the owner, but,
And I think that
they could solve it.
discussion with owner to see if,
Well, if they don't pay within a certain amount, then they'll get billed or whatever, if they don't want us to shut it off. Or if we don't have authority to.
and the other issue is for our customers, if you get a shut off notice, those water customers are assessed $75 to shut off the water. So if we're not able to shut off the water, I mean, it's my opinion that they still should be assessed the $75
For each one.
for each one. the
Yeah, so
homeowner.
there's 4 meters and 4 services. Okay, have the problem.
9, it's 9 services currently.
And they do get added to the taxes or they don't?
We have been,
Oh, okay.
but it's just a long time to sit.
So you just don't want to wait that long.
Yeah, there's one owing 9 months right now, so.
Yeah, and I think the part that you put in the email, I don't know if we're prepared to discuss it tonight or if we want to wait for Matt on that as well, but the recommendation that we had from the state to charge the $55 fee even if the nozzle does not get turned. I think codifying that in the policy would allow you to kind of put a little bit more of a bite into that, especially because, by virtue of living in a park that pays on its own, that shouldn't exempt you from the same, penalties or fees that the rest of the village is assessed. So I can, if nobody else is interested, I've been working on a water policy before that, before the comptrollers came to begin their audit, and I was kind of on pause until the audit was complete to kind of make sure we didn't want to amend it based on anything that they brought us, but this, I guess I didn't realize how long it takes to finish a state audit, and we probably would be better off at this point amending it, but having something. So I can probably put a bow on that this week and send it out so that we can at least evaluate what I've already written, your kind of policy writer to be our guys. That we can pass.
No, it's not doing me any good up until this point, so no. No, nobody else likes my policies, at least they don't have to follow my policies, that's what.
I'll pass this one around and see what we have, because I think us being able to levy the same fees, even if we can't turn the same nozzle, the idea is that the fees, because there's a lot of work being done, not just by the DPW, but also by the clerk's office and us moving the bills. So I think it'd be beneficial to get something in writing and we can hammer it out from there. And also it would touch on some of those payment agreement discussions, so we don't have to bring them before the public every time.
Correct. That's a good idea.
Yeah, and I didn't really agree with the comptroller's office about the $75, which I know I can disagree, but it's the purpose of the $75 is to actually pay for the person to actually go and do the work. So to charge somebody $75 when they weren't actually turned off and then turned back on seems kind of silly to me, but.
And that's almost verbatim. I might not sound silly because I'm sitting across from them, but that's almost verbatim what I said. But they said that actually the turning of the nozzle is the least work that gets done. And I'm sure you know it from sitting in the office, like those people they're tracking the accounts and they're having to assess the fees. Like you have to pay for the administration as well. And that $75 accounts also for the office administration. The number of people who touch it outside of, including adding it to taxes as need be. All the people who touch it outside of just the DPW turning the nozzle. Turning the lever, turning the thing you turn.
So I agree with that.
So do we want
It doesn't really matter.
Do we still want to have a discussion with the new owner of Lakewood Village about this? Before we get Matt's advice or after? What do you think?
I mean, it wouldn't hurt.
Okay. Okay, next up, fire department overtime. So I don't know, has everyone had time to go through paperwork that now Chief Cooley has provided? Or was this something that we were going to discuss it during the overtime? Did he give anything to anyone?
I didn't get anything. He told me he had a stack of paper, but he hadn't given it to me.
Okay.
I just did a little. I just did a little history regarding overtime. I don't know if it will assist in our discussions or not, but. I have the budgeted amounts for overtime. I don't have all the years, but what we've actually expended in overtime over the years. I have the number of hours, the number of calls, which you could see I still have spots to fill in there, and the average number of employees through those years. So
Is that projected number that you put down there, is that what you're gonna say? Is that what likely will happen this year if we stay at this clip?
yeah. And obviously that is not gonna work.
Mhm.
So, so we have the, 16 for this year, but we actually do not have 16 people. We have not had a full staff due to, a couple injuries, and holes to fill so far this year. We have tried to fill some of the holes, and those people are still in training. I would like the chief to address the board again as to where everyone is on training and when they can be considered full staff.
I don't think we've gone below 16.
Oh, we're below 16.
I don't think we've gone below 16,
We've had,
maybe 15.
Yeah,
I think we're at 15.
Yeah.
we were at 13 a while back.
Not on staff, but as far as the number of people who come in, right, due to people being
People
out
could
on.
come in, yes.
So we had a staff of 16, but we didn't have 16 people who could report to duty.
Correct.
So I was hoping Steve would be here for this discussion, because it's kind of, I don't know how we're supposed to talk about the chief here.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
I'd like to go in and, sit down and look at the schedule and see if there's anything that we can do there, because there just seems to me that, I don't know, when I look at the numbers, we have to fill 772 hours in this week alone, and overtime 494 hours. 60% of the entire department is funded by overtime hours. And I mean, we're not less than 50% staff. If we're at 15, that would mean we'd be third men not to have any overtime. So I don't know where that anomaly comes in, incidents that I'd like to look at. But
And that's something I think that, so I was trying to get some information from Steve for the board today. And he had to come in and explain things to me. He was bringing things in, he was trying to explain them to me. And I think that the board needs to hear the explanation from him as far as where the staffing is and where we've fallen short, and why we've experienced the overtime at that rate. And he can go week by week and day by day to show us where that overtime is coming from. And he can break it down as to when there's just holes in the schedule versus when people are taking vacation days or holiday days.
I could tell those holes too, like Jesse and I talked about. If we see the schedule and see where it is, I mean, we should be able to do a full projection on what our overtime is for the rest of the year,
Yeah, barring
Well,
illness, sure.
if we know what the schedule is, I mean, subject to the bell, I mean, that's the only anomaly. You can fill in the schedule.
Yeah.
Did you, I mean, I looked at the overtime reports this week, and
He said today that he had that schedule.
Mhm.
Did you get it? Or?
I didn't see it. No.
So I have it, but I'm just wondering if he didn't give it to everyone else, thinking that because he was told to go home after the swearing in, maybe he thought that we weren't going to discuss the overtime.
I think for us that we really need to look at, what our policy is and how that we present the field training, the onboard training, what that looks like, the orientation, what is our requirement, what past practice might be to what we actually, are obligated to do. I mean, we're trying to, understand there's, some significant training here, but Chevy truck, a Ford truck, here's fire truck. I don't know what we're legally obligated to do. I know that we have a lot, that, over time that came in there, but when I was looking at some of the shifts, it's like, we can schedule overtime, or, like their training, well, some of our new hirees are here and not having 8, 9 people on payroll at the exact same time. I don't know if that looks like, so I think it is really just looking at it and seeing how we can tighten up a couple of those areas, because.
And sitting with him, I mean, he's totally agreeing to look at everything and explain everything. From my take from speaking with him, he's very open, and I know the guys in the fire department are working to try to see what they can do to reduce the amount of overtime. For instance, we have a new paramedic who needs paramedic time with another paramedic. And those two people are working together on the same shift, but the paramedic trainee is he's going to be counted as a staff to fill the staff, the 4-person staffing of that. But he'll get his actual hours as a paramedic with another paramedic on staff. So those types of things are happening now, but I would like the chief to address the board with that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not as interested in the why as I am how we're fixing it. I mean, we need to fix this like today. I mean, this is not something that we can take months to discuss. I mean, we decided at budget time, I mean, we all voted on a budget with 16 firefighters versus 21. And with the understanding that something different was going to have to be done in order to support that lowered budget figure. And from what I can see, nothing has been done, and we've been putting off these discussions. I tried to have it a month ago, and now we're here, and now it's going to be today, and now the chief's not here, and now he's not going to be here on the 11th when I wanted to discuss it. I mean, you sat here, you see how difficult it is to set up a meeting where we can all get together and talk about this. And I'm very frustrated. Every single week, there's another, $10,000 in overtime. That's something's drastic is going to have to be done to stop this immediately. And I mean, we need to understand procedure. Absolutely. I want to understand procedure. Actually, I don't want to understand procedure. I want the fire chief to head up that department and understand that this cannot be sustainable for our taxpayers and to figure it out. I don't necessarily feel it's my job to figure it out. So that he's the fire chief, and I know he's just coming on board, and I trust that he's gonna take this seriously and get it done. I'm hoping, and I was really looking forward to having a discussion with him about it.
So we discussed having the overtime discussion today. Things changed early in the day. Scott, right?
Yep, but there are a few things that we still can discuss, without getting into, the actual schedule. I think that we need to come up with an agenda, come up with a plan for ourselves, a corrective action plan to either get the knowledge that we need or, what we have to do. I mean, I've looked into a few things, and until we straighten out, the scheduling is and what we have to do, we can get those answers, and, so if we get an answer that no, that's just the way that it is. So I think we have to control what we can control. And there are certain things that we can control at our level. And I think that, until we get things figured out where we are, I think that we have to minimize the amount of overtime that we have. And I think that we have to pull back on some of our services, not to our taxpayers, but to, I don't think that we have to be the pass team. We volunteer for that and everybody.
So we need information on that though. Like, I don't know how a fast team works. I want the information as to what is laid out, what policies are in place for fast.
Yeah, because for a one alarm fire, and again, not an expert, but for a one alarm fire in the village of Medina, the Albion fast team is to respond. So we're not the only one in
It's
the
we're the
village.
fast team because we're the paid department and we had the equipment. Well, now we don't have the equipment. We're literally responding to fires with,
So do we have, like, do we have the layout for, mutual aid for fast team, like who's called in for one alarm, two alarm?
it's in the mutual aid agreement.
Okay, so we have it both ways for going out of Medina and for coming into Medina too? Do we have that information? Because I want that information and I haven't seen it all. I want the facts, what's there on paper and what does everyone expect? Other than just saying, oh, we got called out for fast team. We don't know why. We're always called out for fast team, but do we know that for sure?
But I think everybody in town, it just depends on us to be here because we're the only paid fire department. And you know, like certain policy, and this is just my reading, and I'm just talking, you know, very work session. You know, when I looked into Lockport, they'll only send 3 people to a mutual aid call. They don't leave their fire station empty. That was one thing in one of their articles that they did plan. And you know, so I don't know, maybe some of our policy and what we do. I mean, unfortunately, you know, we are the only paid department, you know, so we're the only ones that are always available. But
And I think what you both said was so important because I agree with you that we shouldn't send everybody out for mutual aid. And like, if that's not our policy, I would like to see in writing what our policy is because I've been at the fire department where half of the on-staff crew is on a mutual aid call and the other half is talking to me in the fire department. So I don't think it's our policy to just everybody jump out every time there's mutual aid, but until we see what's on paper. And then whether or not it's being adhered to, or if we want to make a change to what's on paper. Like if we're talking a discipline problem, that's a totally different discussion and and needs to be had. Probably an executive session, but it needs to be had. Whereas if it's a policy situation, if our policy is the whole department, everybody on staff heads to a mutual aid call, that's to me, just on its face, without knowing more details, that seems to me like it would be a bad policy.
yeah, but typically, I don't know how that works for us either with that policy would be, you know, 'cause a lot of times we're doing EMS runs all the time, so when we do go on a fast team call people, but just because of, you know, our staff and, you know, I mean, we're a big business. We're not only just doing fire mutually, EMS for Michelle, Yates, you know, the hospitals, you know, so I think a lot of that we get into, you know, I think that our mutual aid obligation, which we have to do because we need that in return, but, you know, do we, you know, and we do want that in return.
Are we still staffing 5 for each kitchen?
Yeah.
No, we haven't. So that was, and that's what I kind of wanted to come to what you said there, because when we did the budget and the board voted, not unanimously, but the board voted to reduce the staff to 16. That's how we came up with only 4 per platoon, because there were 5 per platoon, 20. But fully knowing that when someone took a day off, that spot was going to have to be filled by overtime in order to keep, because that's contractually the 4th per platoon. And we discussed that at the budget meeting, fully knowing that our overtime was going to go up. Now this much, we definitely have to look into the whys that is happening. I mean, there's no doubt about it, because that's right. We can't sustain it at this rate, but we knew the overtime was going to go way up once we went to 16. And we said as much in the budget meeting.
Now, Deb had prepared, well, I guess I would have called that an agenda. And then I kind of, you know, wanted to do everything that she said, but maybe in a different order. If if you're looking for an agenda to have a conversation like this, would it look different than the one that was prepared? I mean, I don't want to prepare in agenda format, but the discussion points, I looked at it for the work session.
Well, I knew there was other things that were going on, so I didn't want to interfere with the agenda, but, by making up an agenda. So, I mean, those discussion points are things that are in my head all the time. So now they're on paper, and I think that the discussion should be had on every one of those points. I don't care what order we talk about them in, that's irrelevant. I will say that the reason why I put vision first was because if we're all not on the same page, if we're all not thinking like the same, then we're just wasting our time. We're just wasting our time. If we're not agreeing to figure out a different way for this department, and we just want to continue business as usual, then I'm not interested in any more meetings or discussion, because my gosh, I'm all talked out. So, and I'm always the one that's saying my opinion, but.
Well, I wonder if, like, for me, it would be easier for me. I don't have like a vision board of the fire department, but I do, my decision would be driven by data. So to me, any decisions that get made going forward should have the data behind it, which is why the order felt to me like I wanted the vision to be after the data. Like, this is a pretty telling number. If our overtime is shooting through the roof like this, then having the data that says this is how you got there and these are the things you can do to remove them. Those are pretty integral data points to know.
Well, here, I'll just give you everything I got. Just give you. I'm gonna give you.
You gave me fire department budgets.
So I think we have to understand the process. We have to have the data. We can have these, pardon me?
We have the data,
What kind of,
we just don't know the policy and how we go about the overtime.
right, but like with what Deb just gave us with the trend. So, what happened, so in 2021, we budgeted $45,000, but we actually spent $172,000 in overtime. So what happened that year that made us have to spend that much money? The same, like it was $45,000 for four years in a row, and we spent $172, $138, $146, $144,000.
Yeah, go back to 1920. We only spent 60.
Yeah, and I don't even know what was
18, 19, we only spent 53.
Right.
And
So,
we had 21 people.
so I want to know what happened. Were all 21 on staff and there weren't holes to fill? Were people ill? Were people, on workman's comp or whatever? I think that you have to look a little bit deeper into what was happening those specific years so that we can follow the trend a little bit more with reasoning behind it. Maybe it was done differently, who knows? But I think that we need to find out at least.
I mean, I go back to something.
But, right now, and if we can speak with the chief, with what the things that he's trying to gather for us, he can lay it out, and these are posted shifts because there was a hole in the shift. There weren't 4 people. And those are how many hours, whether it be like over 1,000 hours, because there were holes. But then, and he can have how much overtime was for off-duty response, how many, he can divide it that up that close for the board and tell us that information.
I have, fire department budgets from 2020, 21 to date. It's just broken down by their budget.
Oh, this is a good job.
Shows retirement costs. What do we got here, 6 years? 6 years, rising from 205,000 to 531,000. You know, the people. And the ambulance revenues are stagnant.
They should be better starting this year because of the new billing system, but we won't know that until the end of the year. So that people aren't receiving the checks.
I didn't,
Coming right.
I didn't have all the healthcare figures, there was a little discrepancy between, the way I was getting the figures, and it was too late, I couldn't. So I will fill those in though, because I'm interested to. So, and as you can see, it's like, you know, the fire department is now at 38% of our budget. And it's,
So fire department, police department, and DPW. I mean, 38%, like what percentage would you like to see the fire department at?
well, I don't think it's a matter of what I would like to see it at, but I do think that 38% is,
Just over a third of the budget
Without any of that service.
out of the three departments.
yeah, and
so.
it doesn't include a truck and a station and an engine and all the other equipment we're gonna have to buy. And, no, I mean, I would love to do the same thing for the DPW. Because, so in my whole thing, which has been my whole thing, is that the village of Medina, I mean, continues to pay for things and for services that are offered outside of the village that we get nothing for. And so when you're looking at a budget and 38% of it goes to the fire department, I mean, doesn't it make you wonder why? And that you could not pare down that service so that only the village of Medina is benefiting from that service? I mean, we have a public works department. We need sidewalks fixed, we need roads fixed. I mean, and those are all services that, you know, water and sewer infrastructure, those are all things that we can't get those from anywhere else. Those are totally village of Medina responsibilities. But fire and police service, I mean, I don't know, I'm gonna be blasted all over tomorrow once I say this, but I mean, some of those services can be shared. I mean, we don't need to be doing those services for everyone. We can't afford it anymore. We need to think about village of Medina first.
Right, but we also, I mean, many of us want those services in our village.
And I'm not
We
saying,
have them
and I'm not
inside
saying
our
that,
village.
right, right.
So-
And I'm not saying that we shouldn't have it. I'm not saying that we shouldn't have it. Okay, so here we go. That brings us to my other sheet. So there's mutual aid. I mean, this is a good example. And I did this a while ago for the ladder truck. I mean, I did this for the ladder truck, so it's not all mutual aid funds. Okay. I mean, the ladder truck went in 2024, the ladder truck was dispatched 21 times. So
Oh, no.
mutual aid calls were 27. Were 27, and the ladder truck responded 21 times versus 12 calls inside the village. So our ladder truck in 2024 went to 21 of 27 calls outside the village. And and the ladder truck responded to 12 calls inside the village. That's almost half, less than half, a little over half. 5 of those calls were for a fire alarm. 5 were actually for a fire. I got fire alarm here twice, but 5 were for a fire, 4 were for a fire alarm. 1 was an appliance fire, 1 was a natural gas, and 1 was on the site of the ball. And we're paying for a ladder truck. Right, doesn't make sense to me. Volunteer fire departments, taxable budgets, and I put these figures in here loosely because, believe it or not, it was very difficult to get these numbers. You would think that you could go on a website and find these numbers, or you could call somebody on the phone and get these numbers, but it's very difficult. Town of Ridgeway has 2 stations. They have 6 bays in one station. They have 3 bays in another. They have 2010 Pierce Sabre engine. They have a 2020 Peterbilt tanker. I don't know, whatever these are, 1990, whatever. Town of Ridgeway residents are paying $187,404, about 71 cents a thousand for their fire protection. Town of Shelby has 2 stations as well, I believe, although theirs was even harder to decipher. Their budget, from what I could gather, and this is taxable budget, I'm sure their budget is a lot more than that, they get donations, is $281,000.12. And Lindenville Joint Fire District is $214,075.
So how did you get these figures?
I called the town of Ridgeway. I called the town of Shelby, and I think Lindenville's was on there. I got these figures a lot.
Yeah, and I was able to find their budgets online, trying to do the same thing, but they're not simple to read.
They're not.
And then do you have the amount? I know that like Town of Shelby, Town of Ridgeway, they give so much money out of their budget though. Like, I thought that
They do, they pay, it's a pretty small amount, but I mean, relatively speaking, but they do pay it as well.
well, I had like 400,000 or 500,000 of their budget is goes to fire. I don't know. Plus they get to fundraise in the towns
They
too,
do.
which.
And they have nice fire halls. I mean, and that's why I said I put on information purposes only, so don't hold me to these numbers, because I wasn't even comfortable with getting them, but I have seen numbers that are similar to this, so, you know. And in any event, none of them are anywhere near 3 million. So I'm just throwing this stuff out there for why I am having the attitude that I have. And it's not that I want it. I think we need to pare it down. Something affordable for our residents. And 38% of our budget is, yes, too much. I think things can be done differently. Do I know what? I absolutely don't know what. I wish I did, because that would just give you the answer and I'd try to fix it. But I don't. And I'm hoping our new chief will. Yeah, if we get this truck and the station as it is, it's another 88 cents a thousand. That's $132 a year, $150,000 house. And that's for the next 20 years. And that's just, that's not considering the payroll, salaries are all gonna go up 2 and 3%. Those are contracted. You know, retirement is guaranteed to go up. I mean, we already got some quotes that are ridiculous. I mean, I just don't know where the money's coming from. It's all. So I think we're beholden to get this under control, under wraps. And yes, we do need to talk and figure out why so that we can get the answer. Yes, absolutely. Sooner than later. Because we're already wasted 13 weeks of this budget.
We're getting roughly 7% of our, tax increase just to debt services. About 3% retirement increases. Or,
You guys speak up.
Yes, speak louder.
no, I was just saying with that, what we're looking at for an increase, I'm doing a Q1 review. Look into, a significant increase in taxes next year, where we're at.
No.
So no.
No, wrong way.
Yeah.
So we have to get this is very, very good, Deb. And we have to add to this what we have and process it. We need more data. We need to make sure everything's accurate. We are also, we have to understand the mutual aid and we get mutual aid and we give mutual aid, and I understand what you're saying. And it's definitely 1/3 of the budget for people to have their fire and EMS services, premium service right here in the village of Medina. Some people are content with that. The same with the police. I mean, the retirement's gonna go up. We can do the same thing with police. We can do the same thing with DPW. When you hire employees and these things they're going up for everyone. It's the village of Medina or it's school district, anyone. I mean, everyone is faced with these costs.
We are, and it's our responsibility to try to keep them under control, and I'm not sure that we've done that.
So we need to keep them under control, but we also have to reach out and try to find more revenue. And we have to, look at our budget and try to get more revenue for the services that we're providing if we're going to continue to provide them.
I just want to double back to the towns, what they pay for fire protection. I think that 400,000 figure, I believe that was a mistake, because I think that is adding the fire protection expense and the fire protection revenue taxable income. So they tax their folks and they collect 187,000. Like the taxes go through their books.
Okay.
But then they spend 212,919. That one number is a negative, the other is a positive. So I actually think they spend, if I'm reading this correctly, about $25,000 that they send from the village budget or from the town budget.
That's it.
Well, this is just me looking at the budget, hoping I understand what it means. But I'm looking at their special fund for fire protection district. It shows revenue 187,404 and fire protection expense 212,919. I'm not even positive that I'm reading that right, so don't run to the news with it. But that's my understanding based on what at just a quick glance, if I just pulled up the budget, because 400,000 blew my mind, that was not my understanding. And I think somebody added those numbers up when they gave it to you instead of subtracting one from the other.
Makes more sense.
Our debt services that we're gonna take on this year are more than what Ridgeway pays in total. That's for their, is that for their EMS and fire protection?
That's only fire.
But EMS is in Ridgeway is 35,000.
Yeah, the thing is 35,000.
And I'm sorry, I could have scrolled even,
It's 2 cents.
I could have scrolled even a little farther and I could have seen that the total for their fire protection district, once you add their workers' comp in, was $36,375. So I could have scrolled a little farther.
And they rely, solely on volunteers.
I think we have to look at the, I think we gotta look at the whole picture, because there's value to, there's value to the perspective that we're paying a lot of money, and a lot of people who are not paying that same amount of money are benefiting from an equal service. I think that's an important conversation. I just think that, like Debbie said, it's what the next step is. And I think if we have all the information, we can make that next step. Like, let's do it. I'm super disappointed that Steve's not here tonight. I think that we would have been able to probably hammer out a lot of what was on, I call it our list now. I contribute to reorganization. But I think we could have hammered out a lot of what's on there. And I feel like this is phenomenal. I did try to gather a lot of this information in a couple different ways. It looks like from what I've seen, your numbers and my numbers look the same. So, and you've done a lot of work that I didn't do. So this is really good data from this side. And it highlights everything that we're saying. It costs way too much to run a department that covers a wide span of area, but only a small span of area pays for. I just made up a word there. Thank you. But now we have to have the rest of the information, because I do think it ought to be a partnership between the board and the new chief to figure out what the next steps are going to be, because he can handle what happens within his department. And he can help tie up if there's problems that require disciplining or retraining or a policy change. He should be the spearhead of that, and hopefully he'll come to us with those suggestions. But we should continue to point them out to him as as well. And then as far as the rest of our villages, I don't want to put more on him than is appropriate for him. So I do think it ought to be a partnership. But for that partnership to take place, I understand that he was informed that we didn't need to stay tonight because we weren't going to talk to him about this. And I actually think we need to talk to him in order to move forward. And so I recognize that people think we're kicking this can down the road and not having this discussion. The problem is I don't know how to have it right now. And then to have a meeting, how foolish do we look? Sign up a meeting on September 11th with the fire department. We said the 11th, and looking at it, September 11th, of course, there's memorials that folks are going to be in attendance. So I know Steve's concerned that he won't be able to make it at the beginning of that meeting, and rightfully so. He ought to be able to attend these memorials in the county. So I was very difficult to even get these meetings together, and then to have one of them our mistake for scheduling it on what was probably, in my opinion, an appropriate day to do so, like just an oversight. And then for us not to have him here tonight, to have the remainder of that conversation, like I feel like we're just kicking the can down the road again, but I don't know how to have this conversation without, this is a lot of information, but it's also probably half.
Absolutely. This is just a picture of the finance part of it. I don't have the rest of it. And I mean, I was hoping to get that done on the 11th, but then I find out that, MRB and Pierce is going to be here for what I'm not sure, because to sell us a truck and a station, which I'm not ready to,
Why do you have to give a dig like that?
because I had to give a dig like that because you did not tell me that we were going to be inviting them here. And every time I brought up, you were the one actually brought up having the meeting. And then it became, all these people were going to be invited to it. I'm trying to have a conversation with our board and with our fire chief, our fire department, so we can solve these problems, not continue to add more debt. I am not ready to add a fire station
and a fire truck to this budget without some sort of consolation, trade-off. Because I'm not adding 88 cents a thousand without taking off 88 cents a thousand. That's where I stand. So it frustrates me beyond belief that you continue to push business as usual at the same time saying we're on the same page. You sit there and you agree with me. You say you agree with me, and it's always followed with a but. It's always followed with a but.
So Deb,
I hear the but, Marguerite. You don't agree with me. And it's made it very difficult for
there
me.
is business as usual that has to be attended to in this village. We have to look at everything. This is a big job.
Not $10,000 a week in overtime. Not $10,000 a week in overtime. There should be a moratorium put on overtime immediately, is what I think. Something needs to be done. They cannot continue. I mean, and if we can't afford to provide the service, then we don't. I'm sorry. That's how I feel about it. $10,000 a week in overtime. I mean, you should be outraged.
I am not happy with this. Deb, there was a reason for it, and you are part of the decision that we have overtime right now
There you go.
by cutting staff.
There it is.
You wanted to cut. Well, who are we going to cut? How are we going to cut? And I said, we'll do it through attrition if this board decides they're going to reduce it to 16. So with 16, now correct me if I'm wrong, overtime is going to go up. Maybe we didn't anticipate this much, but with 16 people who are here every single day, every single shift, overtime would go up.
Well, you were right. Does it feel good?
Well, it does, but it's
Doesn't it?
not. It's not.
It shouldn't.
You're recognizing it that we know that the overtime is going to go up. I am not happy with it at all. We have to get to the bottom of it. We have to see the reasons, but.
Okay, when are we gonna do it? Let's just quit rehashing the same things. What's our next step? What's our next step? We need a plan here. That's all I want is a solution.
But I
think
want
we
to
need
go
to
back.
reschedule the 11th.
But I just have to go back first. On my notes from our last meeting, when we said overtime on the agenda for September 8th, these are my notes from the last meeting. Okay, well, I said it's kind of weird that we are going to put a new police chief or fire chief in place and then talk about overtime right away on the agenda. What did you say?
I said he knows what he's getting into.
Right. So then today we kept it on the agenda and today it changed. We're still talking about the overtime without the fire chief.
Should getting nowhere. This has all been a wasted time. Thank you very much.
Marguerite, can we change the 11th date?
And we can. I want to just ask this board something first, okay? So I had that we would invite the representatives to give information to us. Fire chief was one of them for the 11th. The figures on the storage for the ladder truck. The ladder truck is coming. I do have more information on the ladder truck to share with this board if you want to hear it.
Sure.
And this is business also that has to be addressed, and it's a lot. We do have to address the expenses in every single department and the overtime. But we have other business that has to be attended to also. So Mark, you want to reschedule the 11th meeting, or do we want to make it later at 7 or 8 at night?
I think that because it was an error on, none of us thought of it.
Yeah, we just kept saying the 11th.
Yeah,
We weren't thinking
and I
this.
compromised because I think I was the only one that had, I have no problem compromising again if we can come up with a date with the rest of you that for the 11th. I think it was an error on all of our part. Nobody thought of that. If we could come up with another date, I don't care if it's the 10th. I know tomorrow we got a date for interviews. Give me another date.
I don't think.
So we can hash this out.
Meeting, I don't think we can do the 10th.
Whatever, give me a
I
date.
think, the 15th is the next day I have open, which is a Monday.
Okay,
I am gone at the NICOM conference, the 15th to the 18th.
Okay.
Okay.
I have the 19th.
I can do it after 4 on the 19th.
That day. Scott?
I'm good with that. If everyone else says.
All right, and then can we agree to adopt the items that Deb has pushed forth and anything that anybody wants to add to that as the agenda for the meeting on the 19th?
I think we need to have facts first. I think we need to understand the whole process.
But I think that, okay, I would say that that would be where we get them, right? Like, is that this meeting?
That's nice again. So I think it would be a good idea to get the overtime figures and pardon?
We get them every week.
The itemized ones, the packet that Chief Cooley is putting together for us.
Get an email. Brand is something here.
Right, you've got overtime, but they're not.
Yeah,
I
we
think
need
what
to-
he wants to give us, if I understood correctly, the thing he was gonna add is the reason. Sick time, if
Yeah.
it was scheduled that way.
That'd be great.
Yeah, but I don't know that we need it in advance of, we can get it in advance. I don't know that we need to do anything in advance of that meeting to
He has
discuss
my-
these points.
he
We
has
can
my-
have it in advance of the meeting, but I don't think we need to have like a pre-meeting to go over those figures before we
He
have
has
this.
this.
Yeah.
So he is welcome, as is anyone, to provide any answers that they think they might have to my questions.
And I think he was prepared to give those tonight, so if he'll throw them in our mailboxes, we'll have time to digest and highlight any questions. We can even surface them to him in advance so that he's not surprised by anything. But I think if we got those figures from him, the earlier we got them, because I do think he has them prepared.
I'd like to see the nature of the call too, for overtime. I'd like to see that. You could write that down, Margaret.
The nature of the call.
The nature of the call per overtime. of time. If there was like overtime, for what was the call, where was the call? I think that's appropriate. Does everybody agree with that?
Yeah, like on the reports,
Yeah.
there's, hands on there, like. Whether they are unassigned or, training.
So he's going to give us, when there's off-duty response, and that's what you want the nature of, for the off-duty response. So do you want, like, when a third ambulance has to go out, like, there's several times that a third ambulance has had to go out. Okay, so do you want to know why the third ambulance had to go out, or you just want to know what happened that someone had to come in off duty? Well, which would have been when the third ambulance went out. More than likely.
I think that would be good to have that categorized if it's not valid. I don't think it would be for him to, so it clarifies, so everybody's not arguing about if they come in for overtime. So that takes it off the table. Well, was that justified? Was that justified? I think it'd be easy for him to put that with that of why that, thinking what was the overtime call they were. I think it would take that right off.
Oh, yeah. some overtime, 28 hours in one day.
Why?
I mean, like, so,
And the third ambulance went out twice.
like, you know, what our policy is too on, you know, our agreement with the hospital on, you know, transports and when we generate that and, and for me, when we talk about premium service from Medina, you know, I look at sometimes like, well, what kind of premium service are we providing if we have two ambulances on the road, calling someone into the station and then our residents that are paying for that premium service of 36% of our budget and one person in the station. So I mean, I want to look at all that, what's best for us, because we're paying a lot for that premium service, and I get that. But not when one of them's sitting in the parking lot waiting for administration and U of R, and the other one's up at Buffalo General, and the one guy here. My wife and I are both, I don't know, like.
So maybe on the 19th, we'll have the chief give everyone some data, some packets, and he can go over these with us and he can answer questions like what you have, because I don't know all the answers. And if we can have a conversation with him to understand the process, and we can brainstorm as to how we can do better, do we need to do better here, which we obviously do. And just any sort of information that we can get, the actual information, and have them explain it to us. Does that sound like where we need to start here?
Yeah, absolutely.
And then, like, all of your questions that you pose, I mean, a lot of these are going to be answered in the process of him explaining things to us. And they're good questions, food for thought here that we all need to think about as a board.
And where you're holding it.
And I want to get back to the 19th.
Oh, yes.
At 4:00 thing. Can we do it earlier than that? I'll accommodate whatever. Is that you set 4:00? Is there a reason why you said 4:00?
Right, because I have an obligation on Fridays.
Before that?
Yeah.
No, it's important. Can we start right at 4 now? Or is that too early?
Oh, I can start at 4.
I can do 4.
I would like to do it earlier than that, but I guess if that's the way it is, and that's the way it is, I'll accommodate. I have nothing else.
I mean,
I think this is pressing. I signed up.
Yeah, there's a chance my daughter comes with me at the beginning of this, but she'll get picked up along the way.
so,
I don't want to start any later than
I mean, can we have a start and end time, and then I can make accommodations?
that. I'd like to start. earlier.
Well, I'm not available. I'm not available before 3, and between 3 and 4 is very iffy. Like,
Okay.
realistically, I would have to. There's a good chance 4 o'clock I'm bringing my daughter, but between 3 and 4 is fine as well.
Okay.
Can we be done by 6? No?
Yeah, 4 to 6.
Sure.
I don't know, we don't get to sit for hours and talk about it. I
I
mean,
mean, you might want to.
it's
You're
good
very
when
much
you limit
enjoying
this.
yourself.
I mean, you can see what a bear I get to be after a certain hour.
We may be fine. Those are these last week.
Where
So I think we should probably have it up in City Hall, because I don't know if this is available or.
I mean, I don't know why it wouldn't
Seniors,
be
but the
involved.
seniors work till 5. Are they there till 5?
They're done by 4.
Are they done by 4?
Yeah.
You wanna do the senior center?
Okay, I'll just reach out to what's his name?
Lynn.
Lynn, to see if,
So,
I always call him by his brother.
I know, it's ridiculous.
4 to 6 senior center, what's ridiculous?
So we don't even have a place for a meeting.
Yeah. kids.
We're in a lot of places.
The pavilion at State
Me
Street.
too, just no,
Our
they
kids don't get on the street, so-
I bet Tom Shelby's available.
Yes, it is.
I think if you were to wait a week, you might find that it would be.
So we're gonna cancel the meeting on the 11th
Reschedule.
and reschedule it. We're rescheduling it for the 19th from 4 to 6 with Chief Draper.
I think he'll come.
I think you'll come.
Probably.
Holy, oh my God. See, it's bedtime. With Chief Cooley, 4 to 6. And we probably need to make sure he's available. So let me just,
Can we schedule one other meeting?
Sure.
We've discussed having a quarterly budget meeting. I think it's important that we do that immediately
yes.
under the circumstances.
I don't think we ought to do it before the 19th, right?
Well,
It kind of goes along with this.
it's really too, you know, I mean, we're looking at one thing, but, you know, I wrote the time in the police department this last week, like, holy, we're 158 hours in overtime. Just in, you know, we made it 336. I mean, and we're up too many. We didn't have those 2 resource officers available to us this week. That took off 80. We would have been at 200. We would have been at 220 hours overtime.
Did you got the schedule on your mailbox?
I did not.
I put them in your mailbox, the
Okay.
police, and I sent an email that they were in the mailbox. So there's hard copies from August and from September for you to look at. These schedules, I put in there.
Hey,
They're in my box too?
Yeah, I sent you guys an email.
It's for 2 weeks.
almost for
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm gonna call you too, I'm gonna say, hey, Mark, it's got, there's stuff in your mailbox. I will too.
I was in that mailbox, they accepted my water.
Then you didn't look at your mail. It's sticking out, there are long pieces of paper.
So she had to shout out the door, so I could take my water.
So I got mine.
I don't want this saying about problems.
Deb, did you get yours?
I did, I don't.
I had mine out
look at
in
it
my
and I
paper.
just, I see dots and I can't.
And that's why I like for them to go over it with us. Speaking of that, 8:30, I told some people.
You told me.
8:30 has canceled for tomorrow. So this man, so
So we might have a before.
we might be home before midnight.
Oh.
So,
That'd be great.
so let's pick another date for a quarterly, for budget meeting to go over our budget. So now we're into the next week of September. The 22nd.
Can we meet at 5 on the 22nd? From 5 to 6, have a quarterly budget meeting.
We could. For Friday business meeting? No,
Okay.
on the 22nd.
Yeah, it's the second, we have a regular meeting at 6.
This month?
Okay.
6 o'clock.
That's a busy week there, that's all that is going on.
How about, can we,
That's okay.
if Mondays are good, are Mondays generally good for people? We could have a quarter budget meetings on a Monday. The following Monday, I'm thinking of the 29th.
I have a meeting.
Okay. So let's go back to that meeting. So the
Good thing there's not 10 of us.
23rd.
Wait, my meeting on the 29th is at 5. I can't imagine it'll go past 7, which would be at 7. Oh, you can't do the 29th at all.
You guys can handle it.
We're not having a budget meeting without you. You're our numbers guy.
All right.
I mean, actually, that week is very, very busy with the Seneca chief coming and all the things coming up on the weekend, but we could do it earlier in the week. 23rd.
It'll be- Yeah, I can do that.
The 23rd. That's a Tuesday, that's after board meeting, it's the next day. Tuesday at 6 o'clock.
Jeff?
If everybody else can, I'll make.
6 o'clock budget meeting, Tuesday, the 23rd,
Where you moving it?
senior center, I guess.
Crazy. Start getting big on control me, but don't handcuff me.
Then we'll give you a sec.
It'll be over.
So I just, before we go, I just want to make sure that he's, does anyone have his number? They do. Will you just text him and see if he's available Friday from 4 to 6?
Yeah.
I know, that's what I'm thinking. Wouldn't that be something? Friday from 4 to the 19th from 4 to 6. Are you sending him one or?
No,
She's doing it. I don't have my phone.
you can use my phone.
You didn't want to text him?
I didn't want to do what you told me.
Oh.
I told me, hey, that's it.
Is that our last item? Because I can't help but notice the word executive session are at the end of this agenda.
I have something.
Regarding
For executive
promotion
session
of
or
fire department, she's the, personnel.
for executive session or for public meeting?
Workshop meetings, kind of thing.
Oh, okay.
Oh, still like regular session or executive session?
Regular session.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Is there an executive session hanging over our head when he said?
Well, I just need some direction, in the, regarding the employment history of a particular person in the fire department.
All right, go ahead.
After the start of the interviews we had, can you hear me?
No,
Sorry,
no.
I got a sore throat. After the interviews they had with the police department, that for the chief's position, I've always been concerned and I've stressed my concern about having a supervisor for every shift for that police department. I think after those interviews that we had, my concern is even more that the supervision of the young police officers that are on midnights. We all sat there on those interviews, and I would like to put a motion that we hire a sergeant on midnights that to fill that gap, especially that we do not have a chief yet. I think sooner than later, there's a vacancy that's been open that has not been filled. We've always had the two, the lieutenant filled that position, and we've always had two sergeant's positions. We've only filled one sergeant's position, and I've always stressed that we needed to fill that midnight position. With our young, I can't stress it enough, the liability, and I think our candidate stressed it himself, and he hit it home. I think that it needs to happen, and I think it needs to happen today. I think that we need to vote on that and make that happen. I think we need to put a supervisor, fill that vacancy that's there and that need that's there, have that supervision in our police department. So on that note, I'd like to make a motion to fill that position.
So we have to have the list first.
or we can call for that.
As we call for the list. And I agree that there needs to be supervision on the shifts, I think for the police and the fire department, because I think it's kind of a different role, especially after going through these interviews with the police, just to be there for our new young people and to guide them. But I also think for the fire department, because if we have someone on each shift, that person's going to be in charge of monitoring, saying when we're going to call in for an overtime. I think our fire staff is they see what we need as a board. And I think that if we have some leadership on each platoon, they can monitor that too. And I think it needs to happen for both of those departments.
Can I make a motion to call for sergeant's?
You don't even have to make a motion. I can just call for it. I thought it needed a resolution for the fire and it didn't. So I can just call for both of those lists and we can take a look.
I'd like to do it sooner than later.
Does anyone have any objections? No.
I'm in agreement about the sergeant. I would like more discussion regarding the captains or lieutenants positions in the fire department first, but whatever.
So,
That's my opinion.
so I just want to ask you, when we said that we should have some leadership on the platoon that can monitor when the overtime is called in and maybe when a transfer, if there's a non-emergency transfer, someone has to make the call to say either Medina Hospital or nursing home, we can make that transfer if it's not an emergency, we're going to do it when we're full staff. Someone has to make that call, and I would think it would be leadership on the platoon. That's just an example. But what are you thinking, Deb?
Well, I guess I'm just wondering if it's necessary, because I think Mark brought up a good point when we talked about this before, was that the reason why those supervisory positions were in place was because we had a part-time chief. So I just want to just kind of look at that a little bit, I guess. I'm not saying no, I'm just.
I think Mark said to have a captain, 2 captains,
Yeah.
in a chief. I think that's what Mark
I'm
said.
never against not having somebody to, as the supervisor of that shift, responsible for that shift. Especially when you got young people on there that are experienced, they're going through training. The finger needs to be pointed and the supervision needs to be, I think we all sat at that. I was hoping that it was an eye saying it right from the get-go about what my vision was as the police department. I spent a good portion of over a decade, in that department with supervisors, and I really, I can't answer for the fire department. When I took with the captain's position, I don't know what the difference between, other than the rank part of what, it's still a union position where our lieutenant is non-union. What's the difference between having the captain other than the pay than it is for a lieutenant? I don't know what I'm not going to sit here and tell you I know what the difference is. Other than what I see is the difference in pay of supervisor as a lieutenant or supervisor as where Christian plays a different role. He's an admin lieutenant, where if you have a lieutenant and a captain, they're both, I think if I'm wrong, they're both still union.
They're both in the union. I think the fire department could issue clarification regarding the
Well,
difference.
we need that.
I'm putting that on September 19th, if that's okay.
Yeah.
In addition to him giving us the data, explaining it to us, we'll have him explain the leadership
Not
in
against
the.
having I just wanted clarification of the captain and the lieutenant.
Good
That's
idea,
what was explained to me.
good idea.
But I really cannot stress it enough to have, it should have already happened, having a supervisor on midnights. We have them in the afternoons, we have them on days. They're unsupervised on midnights. And we all got the gist of what the officer in charge. And I agree with 100% of what he said. That,
Because even if they're,
right.
even if they're.
Okay, you know, that's the guy you're
They have
working
no-
next
They have no real
to.
authority.
Yes,
They have no real authority.
they don't. They do not. And Margaret, the fire department also, I do agree having somebody in charge. And, even if it's somebody they're not working, if they're in charge of that platoon or whatever, even if they're off, they are that supervisor that can be called.
Yes.
And the same thing with midnights, afternoon, we've all sat there and listened to, they can be called and, you know, that's their shit.
Is Christian
Okay.
on duty this week?
So I will, it's on the schedule.
Well, I know, I want to see that schedule. I already know the questions, and he does have one of those phones that we were just talking about. Phone.
Okay, so I will call for those lists tomorrow and I'll call in Tracy to see if, make sure the senior center is available. He did go. Chief got back to you, he's good?
He said he's good.
Okay, so he's good for the 19th. Is there anything else for open session? Okay, I'm looking for a motion to do a very,
Yes, let's say one thing. I know I'm not supposed to, but the artists, would like to invite you on Saturday. They're going to be at an open house, 12 to 2
I was supposed to say that.
and 4 to 5 Saturday. Then on Sunday, 11 to 1. And, the volunteer program will run from 4 to 6:30 where they're going to look for volunteers.
I stopped in for the soft opening and I was supposed to tell the board.
There you go.
You can't, you're very welcome. So down at the, I'm calling it the old Napa building, the new triennial site. So they had a soft opening on Saturday and Sunday. I can't remember the day. So I stopped down there.
On Saturday, that's the major
This is for
one.
the art triennial for our artists that are coming in. And they do want us to sell as board members.
The other one is 4 to 5 on Saturday.
Right. Kathy, say it again.
Okay, her main thing says 12 to 2 on Saturday. That's where she would really do a great job, I guess. Then 4 to 5, and then on Sunday, 11 to 1. And then they're going to.
that fast.
Okay.
Sunday's what?
11 to 1.
11 to 1 is the start, and then there's another one, 4 to 6:30, where they're going to go over the volunteer program. Because they're going to recruit some volunteers to help with the planting, and hopefully, they're not sure about putting the soil on the barge, but, they've gotta fill that barge.
So I believe that's considered their grand opening on the 13th. Right?
I would
Well,
Say, yes,
because
well,
initially they thought September 6th. but then-
yeah, everything pushed back a little bit.
So
And if you haven't met the artist herself,
Mary Mattingly.
yes, more or less the resident artist. She's down there building her deck on her porch.
Yeah. And then some artists will be here and that was another secretive thing. I sat in on a meeting and I said, will you all sign in? They said, oh, no. They can sign in, but you can't share these names with anyone. And I'm like, okay. And I couldn't read some of the names anyways, but I do have it on a sheet of paper. But everything's very secretive and they
Yes.
announce things as they want to announce them. So I respect it. I'm not keeping anything from all you artists. So, thank you.
Yes.
Okay, motion to go in executive session, to discuss the, what did I say? The employment history of a particular person in the fire department.
I make it.
Meeting over. Marguerite, you had one to say something, I couldn't talk.
Favor?
I.
Opposed? Carried. Okay,
Been in a lot of work sessions for the last 2 years. But this one, you guys voted on stuff, pass this, pass that. I've never sat in one like this. Usually the work session, you set everything off for the meeting and then you vote on. But tonight, it's like this 207 East Center Street about the driveway. It's got, that place has 4 apartments in it. How did it get 4 apartments in it? You're supposed to have 2 parking spots per apartment. How did this get zoned for 4 apartments?
good question.
Well, that's, I mean, but you're not letting us interact with you. Because, I mean, well, how did this happen? We have 4 apartments and they have no.
But we were discussing whether or not.
No, but my point is, you should be going back to Gardner or see when, because when I grew up, that was only a 2-apartment house over there.
He gave me the information, I had to go back in his files, and he gave me the information that he had. He didn't approve anything.
Well, then somebody could have gone, then you need to go back to the homeowner and say, you know what? You're in violation. You cannot have 4 apartments in this building. I'm sorry. It's a code. And this is why these people are coming to have code changes. When that lady bought that house, she knew what she was getting. So now she wants us to change everything for her. But my point is, how can you have 4 apartments there and not have no parking? To me, they should be, whatever it is, if you only got enough for one, then you take everything away from them, and it's a single family home. I mean, and I'm not being harsh, but I mean, it's just, how did this happen? How did they sneak this in? How many more are in town like that?
You're absolutely
You know, when the planning board gives, you know, they look at, it, they're the ones that you gotta be following. And if they don't approve it, I know there's a next step. But there was a reason for it because it's policy. And I'm not a big one to change policy. I'm old school. This, you know, we've changed too many policies in this place. And look where it's got us here. We need to stick to our guns on stuff, but I got what I had to say. Thank you.
I knew it was burning back then.
Yeah. I've never been in a lot of them, and just, usually it's the setup, we come up with a meeting next week.
It's just a safety issue. The school crosswalks on Gwen Street have not been addressed. They've not changed. There's no diagonal stripes going in there. There's not fronts and backs to the signs up there to say it's for pedestrians. You've got trees blocking one of the signs still because there's too many trees, too short trees. They're not grown up yet. Those crosswalks have not been addressed one iota since I talked about it, and I talked about it 2 meetings. This is the 3rd. School's in session. Here we go again. It'll be another 2 weeks, 4 weeks till somebody goes and does something or something happens.
I'm a little confused because somebody sent me pictures of somebody, like the school groundskeepers were painting the crosswalks. I didn't go block them off, but I felt like they had been.
It's just two stripes. They need to be a little bit more delineated on that street especially. Do you have any idea?
Is that the law, like they have? to be-
I don't know, but that's what I'm looking for to get something done. It's very difficult to know until you're on top of it that it's a crosswalk.
I did talk to Dan about it, and he said that there wasn't a specific law for it, so we would be able to. I didn't get a chance to talk to Jason, he wasn't available, but about having that extended and see what we could do. So I did look into that. I talked to Dan to make sure that, you know, we could not do it. So I was just kind of forgive me for not getting with
That's
with
okay.
Jason, and with that tree.
But there,
investment
there
as
are
well.
signs on each side though that say crosswalk, correct? Because that's what I'm working with Jason on, to get something flashing on the signs, more so than what's on the road, because eventually snow's gonna cover up those. But if you could get the lights on the signs next to it that would flash during the school day, that's what I've spoken to Jason about, that he's looking into. Of course, it's gonna cost money, but we'll see how much, what his budget allows, but for the safety of our kids, so.
Margaret, can I just ask one quick question? When you're in a meeting like this, workshop meeting, thank you. Is it possible, or is it illegal, or are we entitled to, I don't know how to really phrase it. When you were talking about the figures on the overtime, is that something we could have a copy of, so that when you're talking about it, discussing it, we can see it, or is that something we're not entitled as taxpayers to see?
Well, I don't know. I know that it's discussion for the board to look into those figures at a work session.
I don't mind something in here.
Yeah,
What's that?
she's our open meetings girl.
Yeah, I love the open meetings law. That's my jam. This is Debbie's notes. So she was not entitled to bring them in advance. Now that she's entered them into the meeting, we can make them available, but she's not required to, this is her chicken scratch. And she decided whether or not to share them, but now that they're a part of the meeting, then you would be coming. You're trying to listen to these meetings and follow what you're saying, what you're talking about. The figures are so large, so many coming in. No, I had to have it all spread out in front of me. It's hard to, I just wondered if we were entitled to see that so we could follow along. I didn't mean to call it.
But Jen also, like, I don't know, like, if she's put some figures together and she says for informational purposes only, and those aren't, you know, if these aren't completely accurate figures, I have a problem passing those out, because that's just something she's showing us, and like I say, we need the accuracy of everything before it comes out to the public. That would be my concern. So,
well, as the law is written, once it's been entered in, we need to be able, the way I understand it, we need to be able to share it. But like Deb was, it was not incumbent upon Deb to share these notes with us.
Right, so some of this stuff I got right off of See Through New Yorker, our budget sheet, so it's certainly public knowledge, but I mean, you know, my research, you know, I would definitely not be comfortable sharing with the public, because next thing you know, I'm gonna have Tom Ridgway saying, well, you said this, and this was really just for discussion purposes. It was not meant to be, you know, totally accurate. You know, so I, you know, same with these other things. If there's something here you want, just let me know.
The overtime reports, those are public information, correct? So the reports that we get on the overtime from the departments.
I was just, you know, saying that
We have that
when you're
every
throwing
meeting?
those figures out and you're trying to follow what you're talking, what you're discussing, it's hard to for them to settle in really quick, I guess.
Just one word, I've had a very long discussion at the state level on some of this that we're talking about. And, generally, if you have it and you're referring to it in a meeting, and I'm not talking about your notes. If you have it, it comes up in the meeting, it should be available to the public. And actually, they went through the whole process with me as to if that didn't happen, what the recourse was. And I'm not looking for any recourse. I'm just saying that the information needs to be available to the public so that they can download it at that time that you're talking.
Under open meetings, under New York's open meeting law, government bodies must make handouts available to the public if they are the subject of discussion in an open meeting. And this includes making them accessible online at least 24 hours prior to the meeting. That requirement ensures the public can understand the issues being discussed with the government body.
100% correct. That's exactly
So it
how
was
I
a
read it.
handout that you were discussing, it should have been available to us.
Okay.
But I would like to think that on the 19th meeting, the information you're getting from the fire department will be available in print for the public to look at while you're discussing it, since he's providing data on calls, volumes, overtime rates, whatever.
Is that really nice? But,
I mean, you could check with Matt, but
you know, what would be really nice too, is, old school, the old projector where you have, where you take that document, set it on there as you're talking, because a lot of this stuff that
Mr. Floss.
You can do your work.
that we got, that we were discussing, I get exactly what you're talking about, nice to, okay. Everybody can see what we're discussing. That's kind of a suggestion.
Look at it, take it home and look at it again a second time. And you really ought to be able to do that. And most of the things, I know Jada uploads everything well in advance of the meetings. If we, I didn't know these existed. They were in Deb's head and now they're
I'm
on a
not,
piece of paper.
I just, in general, for any meeting you have is what I'm asking.
But I think they,
If that's something the public's entitled to, so that you can follow along with whatever it is you're discussing. Except executive session, go ahead. I'm done.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Great meeting.
That's what.
I put mine over there now.
Tom, is that your camera or are you bringing your lunch now? We do have some long meetings.